Welcome then, champions, to this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. My name is Hi-Res Vox, and well, you may notice that things look a little bit different this time around. That's right, the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup has had a full new graphical update. It is something which I'm very happy to bring you. Very happy indeed, as it's looking beautiful right now. Got a lot of interesting things to cover today. So, of course, for those of you who are just joining us, the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup is a brand new cup, and we do appear to have an audio issue. Excuse me 1 second, we'll just get that resolved. Alrighty then, champions, we should have all of our issues resolved right now. Apologies for that, but back to the business. Once again, this is the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. Thank you all for joining me here today. We do have a few things to go through before we do manage to get into the broadcast. First of all, orders of business. Number one, the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup is an open bracket format tournament available within the European region on the ESL Play platform. If you've not heard of it before, check out play.eslgaming.com/paladins to go and find out more information about that, information about where you can sign up, check out the brackets, standings, so on and so forth. And speaking of brackets, if you're interested in checking out the brackets or the monthly standings for the month of October, use the command !bracket or !standings in Twitch chat right now. But as far as the bracket goes, we have 4 teams as we are broadcasting from the semifinals and upwards today, which we're going to go ahead and take a look at. So let's bring that up on screen and see which, I don't want to say lucky, but more proficient teams have actually made it all the way through so far to this week's Cup. Now you can see on the left-hand side, it is Team Cryptic and Gangstars. They'll be facing off against each other. Bulls and Blazing Hussars make up the other 2 semi-finals teams today. We have a lot of history between these two as well. Cryptic and Gangstars, obviously not the same teams which, if you watch previous LAN events such as DreamHack Valencia, you may be familiar with, but certainly formidable rosters. And Bulls and Blazing Hussars, well, after Blazing Hussars, headed by Kamika, made a bit of headway last week in the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup for the first week of October. I'm interested to see how they'll stack up against Bulls. Will Blazing Hussars be able to take it all? Let me know your predictions in chat in the meantime. As far as which matchup we'll be having first on our screens, well, it will be none other than... Excuse me there. As far as which matchup will be coming up first on screen, it will be none other than Team Cryptic and Gangstars. Again, as we mentioned, a couple of teams with a lot of history between them. And whilst we do get ready to bring you that on screen, as you heard right at the beginning of this cup, there were just a couple of audio issues coming into things. So we're going to take a 3-minute break. I do apologize for this, just to get that resolved and make sure that everything else runs smoothly here on out for you. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back then, champions, to this week's ESL Go4Paladins Cup. We've got all our issues resolved now. We are ready to go straight into the first set of the day. It is Team Cryptic versus Gangstars, as mentioned. On your screen, you can see that the map draft has come through and is now available for us. So let's go ahead and check out exactly what we will be seeing today in terms of maps, and exactly what we'll be seeing today in terms of bans as well, as the bans are quite important here. Splitstone Quarry and Stonekeep both taken off the table, so neither of these teams particularly wanting to be able to deal, should we say, with more of the open map. Splitstone Quarry, a map where champions like Grover can excel. Mobile flankers like Eevee and Maeve have also demonstrated themselves to be devastating here, with those less inclined to be picked up on maybe smaller and compact maps like Jaguar Falls, which is the very first location of where we'll be going through to today. It'll be exciting to see how it all breaks down as this does start to come to light. As you know, champions, it's not just the map draft which does matter here, it's also the champion draft which really comes into play during these events. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the picks and the bans for map number 1 between Team Cryptic and Gangstars here on Jaguar Falls. Starting things off between these two teams then. Cryptic, they have first ban. They take away Bomb King from Gangstars, which is rather remarkable, a little unusual there. Have to see if that continues playing out in this fashion. Back with a ban onto Muddy. Barrack picked up as the first pick for Cryptic, getting the Gangstars counter with Drogos and Torvald, which I love. Protection able to keep Drogos alive during Dragon Punch in certain incidences. Make sure that the Barrack is more easy to play. Maeve and Charlene taking a counter, however, so getting a lot of direct damage online very early. Team Cryptic not going to have a primary source of AoE, it would appear, unless they draft Ashe into their lineup. The Gangstars do end up stealing that away as well. So no sign of AoE for Cryptic. The Gangstars take Cassie, leaving their last pick support open. Likely going to be a Janus here, as Maldamba should be prioritized by and indeed it is locked in. Getting the DPS online early. Gangstars have put themselves in a formidable position to be able to contest with Team Cryptic here. The last pick, Gangstars, they close out with the Janus. So Cryptic's lineup is Barrack, Maeve, Charlene, Maldamba, and Ruckus. A lot of direct damage, good pressure on the objective here, but will they be able to stand up to the onslaught of AoE that comes from Drogos, Torvald, Ashe, Cassie, and Genos? Taken for Gangstars. Champions, if you've been familiar with the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup before, you know the deal by now. 2 minutes on the clock before we are able to get back into game. Pulling you into map number 1 of Jaguar Falls between these two teams in just a moment. So sit tight, stay tuned, and let me know in Twitch chat who you think gained the advantage in the draft, and if you think they can carry that advantage through and push for a victory in game 1.
We don't want no cars, they ain't ready for the cause. Ooh, baby, on the track, I'm going vroom, vroom. Try to catch me when I pull up in a zoom, zoom. Ooh, boy, driving by the shore, looking for some more, and my Rari going roar. Want you to work, I heard about your resume. Skirt, open up the sesame. Work, oh no, no, don't pressure me. Yeah, ooh, yeah, roll out with the referee. Curb, yeah, I'm turning left now. Burn, yeah, the rubber's on my chest now. First, no, you're not the first one. They done told me I'm the worst one. Yeah, always the pedal to the floor, yeah, I'm more than center. And I don't know what's in my trunk, I'm always front and center. Drive the Rari down the coast, yeah, rocking my new road, yeah. Always on the road and I don't need no sweater. Ooh, baby, on the track, I'm going vroom, vroom. Try and catch me when I pull up in that zoom, zoom. Ooh, nah, please don't make that call. We don't want no cars, they ain't ready for the cause. Ooh, baby, on the track, I'm going vroom, vroom. Try to catch me when I pull up in the zoom, zoom. Ooh, driving by the shore, looking for some more, in my Rari going roar. Want you to race, I cannot do this solo. Pace, yeah, I'm speeding in my polo. Wait, no, I don't have time for slow-mo. I've been doing this all my life just for the Lolo. I'm in the shower, I've been sober for an hour. When you see me pour up, I need something to devour. Yeah, I'll play it louder. Yeah, I do a crosser. Yeah, I'm doing better. All my haters give me power. Ooh, baby, on the track, I'm going vroom, vroom. Try and catch me when I pull up in that zoom.
Welcome back then, champions, to this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. As we said, map number 1 of Jaguar Falls is now in session on your screens, of course. My name is Hi-Rez Vox. We've already checked out the lineups, but let's take a look at the legendary choices between these two teams as we get ourselves in the game. Of course, on the left-hand side of your screen, it is Gangstars leading with Saucer on Desert Shadows Charlene, Navron on Spirit's Chosen Maldamba, Menschmeyer 360 with Tinker and Barrack, Skosis on Artful Dodger Maeve, and Westo on Aerial Assault Ruckus. Countering on the other side, we have Sizzy with Exaction Cassie, Goldex on Celestial Touch, Genos, Musics with Direct Current Torvald, Michaela on Wormjet's Drogos, and It's Ryan on Battering Ram Ash. Initial itemization heavily in favor of utility. On the side of Team Cryptic, Gangstars, they push more heavily into Cauterize here, getting some Wrecker online as well. Gangstars look to set up on the objective initially, but they're being denied by all the area pressure coming in from Drogos as Michaela lands a successful Fire Spit and starts to pressure out their opponents. First blood, though, does come through to Skosis. It's Ryan goes down in favor. Sizzy counters out with a kill onto Saucer, and from behind, Westo is looking to aggress onto Team Cryptic's backline, but Michaela with the area denial and the direct impacts from Drogos provides enough zone to keep themselves safe. A couple of daggers come through from Skosis on Maeve, though, who does get hit by Fire Spit, has to back away from this fight. The Team Cryptic are able to counter out a little bit. Still, Gangstars hold the objective currently. Menschmeyer has got set up as Barrack. Barricade also blocks Fire Spit there, so area denial is good. And now heads off towards the left-hand side peripheral of this map. Looking to drop some damage on Michaela, who does get protected by Torvald. Good hold so far from Gangstars as they rise upwards of 81%. 84 now on the objective. Navron holds things down. Moving towards is potentially somebody going to contest, but no. Nobody can step there in time. Gangstars get a free capture in round number 1 there, with Team Cryptic just unable to make their way successfully towards the objective. That raises the question of why Ash was out playing the peripheral instead of barreling down the mid of the point there, just to contest, just to get themselves online. And now it's allowing Gangsters a lot of free berth to be able to push straight up towards their opponent's base here. Ash does send Menschmeyer flying, but Skosis has already taken down Michaela. Skosis potentially on Maeve, looking for a double kill here, or a second in a row as It's Ryan is foresees Battering Ram, shoulder bash to channel away. Remove themselves from all that damage, but Sources have already found 2. Again, Skosis looks for the damage, but no. Off the edge of the map, it did appear that It's Ryan went impaled by Sources, so great play from Charlene there. We'll see how this continues, as all members of Team Cryptic are currently trapped inside their base. Ayless moving forwards towards conversion. Ultimates up, 3 of which for Gangstars are going to be devastating here if they come through in combination, but Maeve activates Midnight in response to the Dragon Punch from Michaela, and even though Michaela does connect, Westo quickly answers back. Hexafire is ready, but no, Cassie around the corner is enough to shut them down. And this is Team Cryptic buying themselves some breathing room to look like potentially that was the opportunity for Dread Serpent to come clean there and get the conversion through with no issues whatsoever. Holding steady then, 1 minute and 3 seconds left on this payload push. Have the opportunity, potentially, for a conversion here. Izzy is looking for it. Has to be careful of the incoming Charlene damage. Does get protected by Torvald, but is left with only 100 health remaining. Maeve's looking for the kill, but Sizzy answers back, gets the trade out there. As Skosis goes down, 42 seconds left on this payload push. Gangstars, with the opportunity to come back and convert, have now lost a crucial member to their lineup who delivers so much of their damage in the form of Skosis, who actually is relatively low in the damage chart so far for the Maeve we're used to seeing them on. We'll have to see if Gangstars can rally back together again and look for a conversion here, or if they will have their push stumped out by Team Cryptic. Skosis finds Michaela to kick things off, though. Heat Haze activated by Charlene, hits the gas pedal, looks for the damage. Cassie hit by 1 arrow, taken down by Skosis for 2 kills so far in this engagement. Skosis turns their attention to the front line on the back of this fight, but that's so much shielding from Ash right there. It's Ryan gets an easy kill on a Skosis, shoulder bashes out towards their opponents just to provide some extra zoning, and Team Cryptic defends successfully. Gangstars were able to find the squishy kills during that fight, but they weren't able to answer back with kills onto the players that really mattered. Those are the front lines who were able to contest the objective for long enough. That being said, let's take a look at our net worth chart now between rounds, as we are currently tied up 1-1 at 4 minutes and 45 seconds into this game. And it's held by Gangstars. This is unsurprising. They got the neutral capture objective. But at the same time, we should start to see at least one cauterized 2, as we do see on It's Ryan for Team Cryptic, start to creep into the itemization. So reducing the overall efficacy of Maldamba, equalizing the playing field slightly. Still, Team Cryptic, they do have an uphill battle if they want to come back into this game. Ultimates are ready for both teams. So far, maybe advantage to Gangstars. Assert dominance could be used by Ash here to stall out significantly, allow maybe a Dragon Punch to be channeled in the meantime. Astral Mark thrown towards It's Ryan on the objective though. Menchmire immediately drops Dome Shield, just making sure that the rest of the enemy team are zoned out entirely. Skozas dives towards the backline. Westo activates Hexafire, shuts down Michaela from the air, but Michaela gets the trade with a projectile shot already having been fired. Skozas is trying to find some damage towards the backline, getting poked out significantly in the process. Needs to be careful because they weren't holding line of sight towards Maldamba either. I love Source's positioning here. Round the corner, finds the trade, finds the kill onto Sizzy, puts a lot of poke onto Musics as well, and now Maeve activates Midnight, looking to chase down this Torvald kill with Pounce to secure. Michaela gets pressured out as well, and that should again be a second capture in a row going for Gangstars, who already gained 75% on the objective just from what seemed like Dome Shield earlier. Out has been activated by Cassie. It's Ryan on Ash, is coming around from behind this fight, but it's too little too late. Gangstars just hold it down. No way onto the objective. The second time in a row, It's Ryan doesn't seem to have the objective prioritization to really necessary to be able to force this one through and just contest when it's utterly vital here. So Team Cryptic giving that payload up, giving that capture up towards Gangstars. We'll have to see if they can defend again. This time around, it's looking a lot more aggressive from the red team. Cryptic holding forward positioning. They don't want to overextend too far here. Michaela designed a rocket onto Ruckus in secret. Last bit over the corner towards Barak as well. Means that plenty of damage starts hitting them. Menchmire getting brought relatively low, but sitting on Gord will be healed up to full very, very quickly. And It's Ryan continues to take a face full of pressure from this Barak. Got to be very careful here, but no. Saucer hits the gas pedal on Heat Haze. Looks for more kills towards the back line. Can't fire at their teammate Westo, but will look for Goldex. Doesn't find the kill as Navron's already stolen that away. But straight into Planted. Helps in tandem with Skozas clean up Torvald. Team Cryptic in a very bad position here. Have just suffered a full team wipe. Will be set back on this defense. Expecting the payload to probably make its way all the way through the gates and the catwalk of this base once again. 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock. If Cryptic want to look to defend, I think the crucial kill here to establish, for me, has to be onto this Maeve. Maeve can do so much work to an enemy backline. We saw in the previous payload push how devastating her pressure was, how she took down 2 enemy carries on Team Cryptic very quickly. So in order for Gangstars to be held at bay, players have got to be able to deal with Skozas here. And Michaela will do just that, finds the air shot after being disengaged by Cassie. Down goes Skozas. Goldex finds 2 in a row as well. On the support, Janos proving that this champion not only heal, but also frag out. With 37 seconds remaining, Gangstars once again look like they've met their match here. Cryptic holding a forward defense. Around the left-hand side comes Skozas, but spotted out, poked heavily. Will have to regenerate out of combat or with some healing coming through, but no, impale into a wall. Saucer finds the opening kill as Midnight is activated by Gangstars once again. To the back line goes Skozas, this time focusing on It's Ryan. Notice that Cassie was very low, can't thread the needle though with the daggers. 15 seconds remaining on the clock. Payload push is continuing, but no, what's this? Ash comes in, asserts dominance around the objective, holds that team still, and there's nobody from Gangstars who can pressure her out of this dead zone of damage denial here. Into Navron they go, the shoulder bash being channeled, dealing massive damage, double kill for It's Ryan. And overtime is ticking once again. Successful defense here for Team Cryptic for the second time in a row. Good utilization of ultimates, but Gangstars hold a lot in the tank. Look at the little stars on the left-hand side of your screen here. You can see that there are actually 4 ultimates available for Gangstars. And the big one to me, or the big 2 in tandem, have got to be Dread Serpent, which we haven't actually seen utilized a great deal so far this game, which I'm interested to know why. And Dome Shield as well. During the last capture, Dome Shield was sufficient for this team to be able to hold on to the objective initially, even though it was tied up, and gain upwards of 50% capture with no chance of contest coming through. Even the front lines of Team Cryptic, with Ash and Torvald, they don't want to step into the flamethrower turret within the Dome Shield. It's pointless taking free damage. The Gangstars bought themselves positioning with that ultimate, and that was crucial. From then on, we saw the Hexafire. We saw the gas pedal of Heat Haze come through, maybe a Midnight to augment that as well. Just devastating play consistently again and again, as obviously we do have a pause going on here, folks, which is actually ending right now, which just led to little incremental advantages for Gangstars on the capture. On the push, however, bit of a different story. Itemization-wise between these two teams, relatively stable so far. The big difference being Gangstars having cauterized level 3 online for Menschmeyer and Skozis. 90% reduction in healing to enemies hit by their weapon shots for 1.5 seconds. That's going to significantly hurt the amount of healing output which Goldex is able to do on Genos. And as you can see here, currently they're starting to lag behind Maldamba anyway. Still, Team Cryptic set up towards the objective. Pay close attention to Michaela here. Done a lot of work for their team so far, but Skozis looking to make stuff happen. Dragon Punch channeled in advance. Protection already applied. Hits into Westo in midair and takes down one. Saucer hits the gas pedal. Heat Haze on the objective. Menschmeyer activates, or not in front of the objective here, activates their Dome Shield. Disengaged out by Cassie. Has to be very careful, but Dread Serpent will save their life versus it's Ryan, who Skozis takes down. Still, Goldex trades out the kill onto Menschmeyer. Will Skozis be able to outbox Cassie and Drogoz here? A lot of damage coming through from Goldex on Genos as well. Relocates with Pounce. 9 lives resets. Looks for in the backline Genos, but protection comes through and now silenced out. Maeve is in so much trouble. Great respawn timing from Musics here on Torvald. Was able to save the life of the support, but again, it's an uncontested objective from Gangstars, and once again, we just saw how ultimates were used to push an incremental advantage of positioning versus Team Cryptic. Team Cryptic might have saved their members. They couldn't save the point. And ultimately, that is what wins games here, folks. Now, Gangstars have been relatively conservative with their use of ultimates throughout the duration of this game so far on the payload push. They don't want to be pushing too extensively towards their enemies. They want to be really saving some face here for future capture objectives. This time around, though, that might not be the case, as a win could come out from Gangstars if they can find this conversion. Target lock, says Cassie in response to Midnight. Skozis trapped out. No leg left to stand on. A lot of trouble there, but that has burnt the all-important reveal from Cassie, which does leave Charlin's Heat Haze as a lot more devastating potentially. Navron being stalled out there as well for a kill to stagger the respawns of Gangstars. Cryptic looking to min-max wherever they possibly can, although Sizzy did actually miss seeing Maeve return to the fight there. Wasn't able to get a dismount coming through, and now Skozis is setting up in position to deal some damage from long range towards the enemy backline. Oh, so low. Sizzy's Cassie gets shut down for kill number 1. 9 lives reset. Skozis heals up slightly, prowls towards the opponents, has to be careful of Drogoz here. Doesn't want to get hit by a Fire Spit and Rocket combo for all that bonus damage. Straight towards the backline. Michaela is trying to box out versus Westo, forced back into base, and Skozis re-engages. Oh, Torvald drops the Hyper Beam. Musics finds one. Menschmeyer only, though. Ruckus is still alive for the time being. Dragon Punch being channeled by Michaela, coming in, looking for somebody on the front line of this fight, but it's not going to find anybody. Too much pressure to fight into from Charlin's longbow, as well as May's direct damage daggers. And Saucer is here, looking to push their team towards conversion, as there are mere meters left away from it at this point. Contesting, it's Ryan. Ash was immune to damage within their assert dominance, but back in comes Michaela, taken out of the air. Triple kill for Westo to finish. And Gangstars claim victory in map number 1 of Jaguar Falls. And overall, that was just really good, consistent play throughout the duration of the game from this team of Gangstars. Really clean utilization of ultimates towards the end, and that just seems to be the really be the moral of the story for them. You know, they've done so much work throughout the duration of this game so far with their positioning around the objective during the neutral capture points. It only took a second, and it only took one opportunity for them to really come through and go for conversion. Gangstars were willing to seize that in full, and that is of course reflected adamantly here on the scoreboard. Now, as you can see, Skozis was leading the kill charts, 13, 9, and 5, 56,000 damage, but it was Saucer who did a lot of the legwork for their team. 71k on Charlin, 10, 7, and 10, certainly not an unrespectable score by any means. But I think the star of this team really has to go to Menschmeyer in this situation, who was able to, as we mentioned, provide so much positioning zoning with Dome Shield. I want to see that come back in future games. I think that even though their damage is on the lower side here, 50,000 only dropped by Maldamba there, 90,000 shielding done. The amount of pressure that they brought for their team is something which can't be accurately picked up in all these stats. On the other side of things, Team Cryptic did put up a few formidable defenses. Good target prioritization and counter-utilization of ultimates really helped them out there, but certain situations didn't seem to go their way, and it all focused around objective play for me. as we move forward into map number 2, I'd be very, very keen to see maybe some different pickups here in terms of champions, but maybe just a little bit more coordination to be able to enable them to get back into this fight and really push for victory. And as far as where we will be heading for map number 2, well, we do have that information now available to us. On your screens right now, Champions is the map draft. You can see the Gangstars took a victory in game number 1, but moving forwards, it's actually going to be a completely different style of map here for map number 2. It is, of course, Frozen Guard, and Frozen Guard does bring a lot of different elements to the realm. It's a much more linear map, with recent adjustments to it, allowing players on the respawns to be less spawn camp, shall we say, with the introduction of some wooden fences. Also recently experienced a bit more positioning, opening up around the peripheral, around the cliffside of the fight, so more space to fight towards the edge of the map rather than where we're used to seeing a lot of teams box out in very tight corridors, has added a new dynamic, but it's still a map where mobile flankers and snipers have the potential to thrive, as long as they're not counterpicked effectively. And as you know, champions, only one thing can come after the map draft, and that is, of course, the champion draft for map number 2. And Team Cryptic find it in them here to draft the appropriate composition to go for a comeback. Will Gangstars take a 2-0 victory before the game's even begun? Well, there's only one way to find out. And that does come through now, folks, as we do get into the thick of things. Gangstars up 1 game, currently have first ban. As it comes through, you can see that it is the Torvald which they take off the table. They don't want to risk giving that to Cryptic. Not on a map like Frozen Guard. Torvald actually a sniper. But Cryptic say no, we just don't want to see Makoa here. Gangstars then, they first pick Ash, valuing the mobility potentially on this map more than anything else. Cryptic, which I like, stripping that away from Menschmeyer is certainly a good look. And Charlin too, 2 very strong picks on their ability to control space and deal damage from a distance. Speaking of that element, in comes Grover. That might just throw us as well as Ruckus, so a lot of mobility so far for Gangstars, and some long-distance direct damage is what has been drafted. Strong with Maeve so far, getting their flanker online. And now there is double invisibility on the side of Team Cryptic, or at least sight inhibiting effects with Midnight and Heat Haze here. Be interesting to see if Gangstars draft a Cassie in response as Maldamba is locked in. And there we go. The Scout, just too obvious of an ultimate here to be such a great counter to 2 ultimates on Team Cryptic. It's a vital pick for Gangstars, but they do leave themselves without AoE damage, which could prove interesting facing into this barrack. And after all, decision here in response. Giannis picked up as Gangstar support. Team Cryptic round out their draft with Fernando. And so for Gangstars, they're led by Ash, Grover, Ruckus, Cassie, and Genos. And Team Cryptic answer back with Barrack, Charlin, Maeve, Maldamba, and Fernando. Once again, champions, 2 minutes on the clock as we get ready to head into game number 2, map number 2 of Frozen Guard. Once again, let me know in Twitch chat who you think is going to come out on top right here. Will it be Gangstars, who have already taken the first map of Jaguar Falls in a 4-2 scoreline? Will Team Cryptic have the chance to come back in on Frozen Guard? Stay tuned, we're about to find out. Welcome back then, champions, to map number 2 of this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, number 26. Of course, my name is still Vox. If that takes you by surprise by now, I've got some questions for you. But it is map number 2, as we mentioned, between Gangstars and Team Cryptic. Gangstars currently up 1 game. We've already checked out the champion draft. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the legendaries coming through, as we see for Gangstars, Menschmeyer 360, this time on Aerial Assault Ruckus, Saucer on Frosty Grover, Navron with Celestial Touch Genos, Westo on Battering Ram Ash, and Skozas on Exaction Cassie. Side of Team Cryptic looking to make a comeback. It's Music's on Tinker and Barrack, Michaela on Desert Shadow, Charlene. Goldex on Spirit's Chosen Maldumba. It's Ryan with Scorch Fernando. Sizzy on Artful Dodger, Maeve. And 2 big things that I like here, stripping the Barrack away from Menschmeyer, stripping the Maeve away from Skozas. Hopefully going to do some work. But the other thing which comes into play is It's Ryan back on Fernando, a champion they made a name for themselves on. Hypermobile in the air as Menschmeyer goes towards the enemy backline, looks to drop damage towards Michaela, finds the headshot for the first blood. Team Cryptic down already. Will they be able to make a comeback here and find an initial kill? Double support pressure coming through is a bit too strong for them initially, but Menschmeyer way overextends. Gets taken out by Sizzy. Goldex likely to fall here as well, and Skozas finds 2 in the backline. Looks for a 3rd on the objective, but the barricade from Barrack will actually force them away for the time being. Skozas has to retreat as the objective control goes over Team Cryptic. Even though the backline pressure fell, the big bodies on the objective are still there, and you can't underestimate this Fernando early. Halo withdraws, gets out the way of Westo, misses their first shot out of stealth, which would have given them bonus damage. Finds the poke on the Skozas, misses the Impale arrow. It's a bit split towards the objective here so far, but at almost 2 minutes in, Team Cryptic have already netted 54% of capture on the objective as Westo shoulder bashes towards the back line. It's members of the red team which are dropping right now. Saucer being pressured out by a turret as well, unable to deal much damage to it. Only 350 their base damage is. You don't deal bonus damage to deployables. Grover's scaling damage over distance from the axes. Loves his positioning here. Getting in an area where they have to be able to lock off the opponents. Team Cryptic do manage to get first capture of the game. This good zoning came through, and whilst Rosengard may have had these adjustments, as you just saw the walls coming through to prevent the spawn trapping from happening from quite so far so back maybe, it's still very possible for a good team to be able to play around these and dismount enemies whilst they're still in their base. Gangstars, therefore, are on the back foot for the first time so far this set. We'll have to see if their defense is as good as their offense was last time. They can actually push through. Kicking things off, though, will be a Genos ultimate coming through time and space. Doesn't find anybody. And Maeve turns out the lights in response. Cassie immediately goes into scouts. Skozas trying to reveal enemies for their team, but it's still a dark area around them. Team Cryptic not finding a great deal of pressure from that Sizzy with a massive heal coming through there from 9 lives, though. Take a look at that loadout in just a second, but Westo still actually finds the damage. Oh, the shoulder bash blocked by Fernando, saving Sizzy from 800 damage to the face. Sizzy is able to pick up 1 kill, now looks for more on the backline. Skozas taken so low here. It's Ryan providing great shielding across the angle to allow Sizzy to escape with Pounce and potentially Prowl here now, as they're left with under 100 health at that instance. They finally get shut down by a blast shot from Skozas' Cassie. Disengaged to follow up, double kill for Skozas yet again. Taking a look at the damage charts here, Skozas seems to be on the lower side, which is rather surprising because they have picked up 2 double kills so far. But to me, it feels like more of the saving grace for their team in this instance. I want to definitely see them come through, play off big in the backline, and utilize their scout well to make sure that Charlene doesn't have the opportunity to go off in Heat Haze. And Maeve and Midnight can be counted. Taking towards the left-hand side, respectively, of the defense here, Gangstars are starting to retreat. They want to give ground towards Team Cryptic, allow them to play towards the choke point wherever possible. Not wanting to overextend in this situation is a good decision from the team in blue. They have ultimates in the tanks, even if they do, such as Whirlwind, which has early game efficiency here. Be able to still keep everybody alive in a clutch situation. Well, the Navron seems to be doing a very good job of that so far, but no! Menschmeyer activates Hexify just to counter out some of the incoming pressure from the red team. Team Cryptic already down 2 members, are in a lot of trouble. It's Ryan getting focused by Menschmeyer, emitter off cooldown, but no! Menschmeyer has the backup from their team and is able to survive, being healed back up by Navron here. Saucer here. Looks for blood around the corner, finds Maldumba. Goldex crippled out, easy kill to Skozas. That'll be all she wrote for this payload push. No sign of it continuing. Gangstars defend successfully, proving that they can actually put up as much of a hold as Cryptic could in the previous round. A good look for them so far. But Gangstars did use up a couple of crucial ultimates, or at least 1 crucial ultimate in the form of Hexafire on the back end of that push. Team Cryptic playing like Gangstars were last game, holding things back in the tank. You can see that they have all 4 of their ultimates online, which weren't used during that push. Sizzy on Maeve, the only one who did end up using Midnight, already has 80% with 79% charged. That'll be up very quickly into this coming fight. Itemization between the two teams. After a successful and elongated defense, it's no surprise that the offensive levels do match between them. Navron has actually gone into a wrecker early as well, rather than prioritizing an early Chronos 2, which is rather surprising, but not having the credits in the tank to be able to do so, chooses to itemize into something effective rather than maybe hold something back for a respawn here. Gankstars have Scout available now. Michaela sitting on Heat Haze might choose to activate it here, but immediately we should see Skozas just straight away activate Scout. There's the hard counter that we talked about. And it's a double kill already for Musics though. Oh, nice use of through time and space to break up the Dome Shield on Flamethrower turret. Saucer playing around the perimeter of this fight could be in a lot of trouble here as Dread Serpent is thrown out and Gankstars are starting to lose their members. Team Cryptic holding the objective strong once again. Trying to contest after Gankstars gained an early 30% on the objective. Slightly too late from Saucer there. Coming through on Whirlwind. Has the opportunity to heal through all the incoming damage, but now the Cauterize starts to come into play. On the objective, it's Ryan activates Immortal just to keep their team alive. Michaela finds 2 and looks for a 3rd, but no. Double-double from Sizzy and Michaela. The dynamic damage duo coming through for Team Cryptic. And once again, even with these walls in place, we're seeing the zoning coming out of the red team in full effect. I love the forward positioning of It's Ryan here, especially on Fernando right now. Not giving their team, or not giving the enemy team any berth to really be able to force through. And holding this angle, specifically on the corner with their shield, locks off 2 entry points in those tunnels around the ice mines here on the left-hand side, respectively, of the attack, to prevent their team from encountering a lot of trouble. Dashes towards Maldamba. Goldex will land a couple of Mending Spirits on them and throw the Gourd straight up into the air and over. Keep the rest of their team alive. It's Ryan returns to the fight. Michaela will be hit by Mending Spirits eventually. A nice little toss from Gourd there over the wall, actually arcing off the ceiling. So Goldex getting some good min-maxing of their abilities here to make sure that the Gourds do land and detonate so they're on the ground earlier than they would otherwise be expected. It's a really nice play to see, but oh, in the backline, Benchmire activates Hacks of Fire straight into the face of Musics. Not quite sure what they were doing there on this defense. And now Sizzy from behind has the opportunity to dominate Westo. Takes them down with daggers. Saucer finds the long-range axe to be able to shut them down. Misses the throw on Musics, which would have spelled execution, but Navron gets the headshot kill still onto Barrack. The long-range axe from Saucer connects onto Goldex. 4 streaks so far for Grover. Still top of the damage charts right now. Doing a serious amount of work for Gankstars on defense. But will it be enough? 1 minute and 12 seconds left on this payload push. Team Cryptic holding on to 3 ultimates, have the opportunity to go for a push here. Dome Shield also is almost ready. But so far we've seen that exclusively throughout the duration of this set. Used on purely the payload, or excuse me, the objective capture. There we have it. Midnight kick things off from Maeve initially. Cassie activates Scout in response. Skozas revealing all their enemies will not be fooled by that ultimate. Gets a lot of successful poke onto It's Ryan, who has to flee from the objective area initially. But now here comes the gas pedal. Team Cryptic's Michaela going straight towards the backline here. Needs to find the shutdown onto Navron, and does so successfully. Double kill as they take out Skozas. Withdraws away from the incoming damage of Menschmeyer. Drops straight into Planet. 2,300 damage as Ruckus shreds through the emitter shield of Ruckus. And now Team Cryptic are poised with the opportunity to go for a full conversion here. Only Ash was contesting within assert dominance momentarily, but Sizzy gets the slay. And now Team Cryptic look to push this one through. 15 seconds remaining. Skozas down again to Michaela. And there's the push coming through with absolutely no sign of contest from Gankstars as they just trickled through one by one. And now Team Cryptic are poised at 3-1 and ready to take this game if they do manage to pull out a 3rd successful capture in a row. Itemization-wise, now Team Cryptic with more of a snowball-style push and the heavy credit advantage towards their team, as we can see in the net worth charts here on the left-hand side of your screen, have managed to get Tier 3 offensive itemization online across all 3 members who have gone into that. That means 90% healing reduction, a massive 225% increased damage from Michaela onto the shields of Ash and Ruckus. On the other side of things, Gankstars are still sitting at just 60% healing reduction. No ultimates in the tank either. Used all of those on defense just to try and hold on by the skin of their teeth. And didn't do so successfully. Team Cryptic hold victory in the palm of their hands as Immortal is activated by It's Ryan on the front line of this objective, keeping themselves alive. Nice positioning from Barrack's barricade here. was enough to protect its Ryan once they came out of Immortal initially. Dome Shield used by Musix, trying to trap Cassie in its midst. One more shot to Skozas will plug them for 650 and pick up a quick kill. That could be a second one for Musix as no, Michaela steals it away on Xiaolin. Really good play so far from Team Cryptic. 15% and rising on the objective. Trying to find the angle. Michaela locks them off as they know a Navran will be. That's what hours and hours of game sense will give you. The predictability of your enemies here, folks. And Michaela staggers the respawns even further. Maeve activates on the objective, or around the objective midnight here, preventing anybody from making their way in. 78% and rising. This one could be over before it almost feels like it began, as 90% climbs higher and higher on the objective. Goldex shows no sign of contest. Musix, no, excuse me, Michaela finds a triple kill. And that is victory for Team Cryptic in game number 2. We're all tied up, folks. We're going to a game 3. And that was a much better performance from Team Cryptic this time around. I've got to say, the answer for a lot of these situations seems to be heavily in the combination of Barik, Maeve, and Xiaolin right now. I mean, look at Michaela's slash line here. Beautiful 70,008 exactly damage coming out for the Xiaolin Wizard. 12, 6, and 10. Skozas had the right idea with Cassie, of course, going for the scout to be able to reveal enemies through midnight and reveal Xiaolin and Heat Haze, but it prevents you with a tricky conundrum. Which one do you go for, and which one is more vital? I think that Skozas did make the right choice throughout the duration of that game, making sure to counter out midnight wherever possible with scout. But this team of Gangstars did seem to find more, I want to say, efficacy in point fights, when scout was used to reveal Xiaolin and make sure that Heat Haze didn't allow them to fire off free 1,000 damage shots again and again and again into the blue team's backline here. Moving forward, Cryptic have certainly demonstrated that they have come to tango. They've demonstrated that they've got fight in them. We'll have to see exactly how that does persist, and whether Gangstars or Team Cryptic will be able to take the advantage in map number 3 moving forwards, as it all does come down to just that one final map, folks, which is on your screen right now. Gangstars taking Jaguar Falls. Team Cryptic answer back with Frozen Guard. Map number 3 will be Frog Isle, the sunny shores therein. Of course, folks, once again, it doesn't all come just down to map draft. It doesn't all come down to champion draft, as we have seen the demonstration during these games being that coordination is what is winning these teams their battles. Champion draft certainly does pay into things. So join me then, champions, viewers, audience today, as we head through to our draft for map number 3 of Frog Isle. Once again, it appears the Gangstars do have first pick and first ban. Makoa immediately taken off the table. Consistent throughout the entire duration of this game, has seen a 100% ban rate, but Ruckus this time is stripped away by Team Cryptic. Maybe respecting the fact that this map could be devastating, but that allows Gangstars to pick up the first pick. Watch out for the Hyper Beam. You will be taking a drink if you're not careful. Maeve and Ash taking an encounter. Cryptic enjoying success with Sizzy on Maeve last game. Also want to strip that away from Skozas, right? Ash just a good all-around frontline. Gangstars then established with Barik and Genos. Primary core is on the 2 DPS picks left open for their final counter. Rogue and Maldamba double supports here so far, augmenting the frontline of Ash and Maeve. Direct damage on Frog Isle, more open map, and Gangstars get some aerial this time with Drogos and a third frontline of Fernando. Triple tank has come out, folks. But will it be? Inara is picked up from Team Cryptic, providing with Ash a very survivable just duo frontline for the team in red. This is it. It all comes down to the wire here, champions. This could go the distance, but we'll have to find out if it does. Once again, as per usual, 2 minutes on the clock before our next game begins. The lineup's looking here. My personal thought is that I like what Gangstars are trying to do, but I feel that they're lacking in damage here. If they can keep Drogos alive, and if Dragon Punch is successful in taking out Inara, they might find victory. Team Cryptic, overall, I've got to give them the edge. Once again, let me know your thoughts in chat. We'll see you back again after the break. Welcome back to the Wire Then Champions, where Gangstars versus Team Cryptic face off against in the semi-final set. This ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup for the third and final time. There will at last be a victor here in this set. Who will it be? How will it all go down? Well, we're about to find out, of course. Gangstars will be fighting out of the blue corner, the left-hand side of your spectator UI. They'll be led by Menschmeyer 360 on Field Study Torvald for their triple tank composition. Scotus on Tinker and Barrack, Saucer with Wormjet, Strogo's Westo, Scorch Fernando, and Navron on Celestial Touch Janos. Countering out then, Team Cryptic, led by Sizzy with Frosty Grover, Goldex on Spirit's Chosen Maldama, Michaela with Artful Dodger Maeve, Music's on Battering Ram Ash, and Nino Kuki coming in on Mother's Grace and Nara. Initial itemization picks coming through. Double Wrecker for Team Cryptic. They recognize how strong this triple tank frontline is. I like seeing the Wrecker on Maeve actually as well. It's a surprising amount of burst which this champion does pull out, and since we're fighting around triple frontline stacking, the cauterized spread from Ash should be a lot more effective here at shutting down healing, as Maeve will be looking to take less 1v1s. Initial axe is thrown out by Sizzy, gets some damage towards the objective. Navron brought very low, one more will do it. Michaela picks up first blood, and that's advantage towards Team Cryptic as they find two in a row and look for a third on the objective. Michaela so low, it's taken out by Westo. In the backline, Nino Kuki boxes out versus Scotus. Barrack falls and Westo must retreat here. Gangstars being forced back. This is worrying. This is very concerning for Gangstars here. Team Cryptic have managed to break apart their triple frontline composition before late game itemization even came online. And the reason this is worrying for Gangstars, the reason this is scary, folks, is that triple frontline should win early. You've simply got more health, you've got more beef, you've got more gusto than your opponents early on. But when it comes down to the actual point fight here, we see the Gangstars are getting broken apart and shredded by their opponents. Raise a lot of interesting questions as to will the late game itemization even be necessary as we get into the thick of things, but Saucer finds two to answer back. Can they find a third shot to Ash? Killing spree for Saucer. That'll answer back slightly. Team Cryptic had the opportunity to hold on, but couldn't find a couple of crucial kills on the players like Barrack. And Saucer, even with Wormjets, no bonus damage from any of their weapon shots or their fire spit, is able to come back in and do so much work. With Field Study from Torvald. Dragon Punch comes in, looks immediately for Inara, through time and space channeled by Janos as well, and even as Sizzy takes them out of the air, will it be too little too late? Blue team holds the advantage on the objective. Sizzy finds a double kill. They try and heal players up. Immortal used by Fernando as Scotus shuts down Sizzy there from range. Music asserts dominance on the objective, and Menschmeyer recharges their shield just to try and hold on. But will it be enough? It's working, says Torvald, but no! The CC immunity from Battering Ram Ash comes through. Back on the objective, Maeve turns out the lights, looking for Saucer, hunting for the Drogas in the backline of this fight, finds the kill, and that will be Team Cryptic coming through with a successful first objective capture at 3 minutes and 10 seconds in. But my goodness, that was a close one. 99 to 99%. All ultimates being used as and when they came up. Team Cryptic barely able to hold on. And that Hyper Beam that we saw come through from Gangstars, I think if Menschmeyer had waited until Ash had been forced to use their shoulder bash before activating that ability, would have been a completely different story, as that would have been a guaranteed kill. Gangstars then rely on a lot of pressure incoming from Saucer to be able to hold them on this defense. Scotus does find one to start off this fight. Big Fire Spit connects. Masterful resets its cooldown, and Saucer throws another one out in the corner looking for poke on a Sizzy. Will they be able to follow up here with Salvo? Frontlining for the team. Westo sets up, throws out Fireball, misses everybody. Forced to push their shield right up and retreat around the corner as the incoming damage is significant. The Gangstars, for the time being, are holding on. Net worth charts heavily in favor of Team Cryptic. Taking an initial look at the itemization on your screen. Mid-round buy has come through for at least Michaela on Maeve right now, putting them to a record 2 and a morale boost 1 already, so expect Midnight to be coming out all the more frequently. And look at the amount of damage that is being done to shields. 1-1-2-5-8 pop on these daggers. That'll make short work of even an Aegis Fernando here, and especially Torvald's personal shield. With damage to turrets, Midnight comes up for the second time in this game. Activating it immediately, Michaela looks for blood on the backline of this fight. Scotus will be protecting their backline very, very well, but Dread Serpent now is thrown out by Goldex, trying to disrupt Westo, who's being brought so low. Barrack activates Stone Shield around the objective. Goldex does get hit by those flamethrower turret flames, is in a lot of trouble. Sizzy as well will fall to Menschmeyer here, so overall, an even hold coming through from Gangstars in the back of a couple of ultimates, but no. Gnosis falls on Barak. Michaela looks for the damage towards Menschmeyer. Should be able to find it. Maybe Ash will as well. And for a moment there, it looked like Team Cryptic might be able to come out in an advance, but no. Saucer able to find a couple of crucial picks once again onto Nina Kuki, and Michaela is able to buy the time for their team to breathe. This is really, really important play. Saucer has come through, augmented by the field study bubble from Menschmeyer 360 at every important moment of this game, bar the one where, okay, they lost the objective. But we saw the potential for a contest to come through just from the back of what Saucer was able to do on this Drogoz. We just saw the defense coming through on the back of Saucer's ability to contest and deal damage. And recognizing that, Team Cryptic take them out as a priority and now look to extend their payload push further forwards. But Sizzy falls to Skozas, picking up a double kill on Barak. Looks for the double. There we go, 3 kills straight in a row. And now boxes out far against Maeve as Westo shuts them down with a fireball. Overtime ticks down. Team Cryptic can't make the push. And Gangstars do defend successfully here, tying up the scoreline 1-1. With a long-term defense like that, a bit of overtime as well. Offensive items have been equalized between these two teams. In fact, the credits have been equalized so effectively that Team Cryptic, even with their neutral 300 from the objective capture, do not currently lead fully in the charts. There's not maybe the Maeve sitting at the top there as well. It's not all 5 members of the red team. Gangstars certainly putting in some good work with Saucer, who, sitting on 818 credits in pocket right now, appears to be wanting to go into Cauterized 3 before anything else. Would like to see a morale boost coming out of them later. Actually, there it is, picked up early. For this round 2 efficacy, rather than waiting on that big, expensive buy towards the end of this fight. Gangstars take aggressive position towards the objective. Don't rush it, but to push out some backline champions initially. Find initial poke onto Maeve. Westo has the opportunity to land a massive fireball onto Michaela if they can get the angle, but no, they don't. They still do manage to force out Music with shoulder bash, and Maeve from the fight through time and space comes through. Doesn't connect, and Skosa still zones out this fight. Down goes Dome Shield, and this is what we saw Menschmeyer do in game number 1. The hyper-aggressive Dome Shield, not necessarily on the objective, but just blocking off space, buying time for themselves to be healed up, and controlling positioning. Gangstars this time around are holding the objective at 84% and rising. Dread Serpent used to try and deal damage from Team Cryptic towards Gangstars, but can they get to the objective in time? Just in the nick of it, Music lands assert dominance there and will contest. Nice Snake Toss stun comes through as well from Goldex onto Westo. Even though that shield is up, Music shuts them down very, very quickly. Beautiful impasse play from Nino Kuki as well, buys them an extra second versus Saucer. But on the objective, Menschmeyer is just rolling through their opponents. Out comes the Channeled Silence. Nice protection onto Drogoz in the air as well, and Saucer throws out the bonus damage to try and make short work of Maeve. Killing spree for Saucer, up in the air, bubbled again. The direct damage comes through, and Menschmeyer gets the slay. Overtime is ticking. Gangstars, though, they bought the early capture that they needed to allow for a mistake like this on a neutral 1-1 point. They do capture successfully. Now Gangstars have the advantage. We'll have to see if they can maintain the momentum required to push this one through. Straight to Inara goes Saucer, dying in the process. But again, folks, it's all about momentum. It's all about the swing here. Navron tries to get the heal to Fernando. Is too little too late. But look how far the payload has traveled without contest so far initially. Long-range Gord does come out. Navron still escorting here. Steps into a position where they can easily get out of dodge if necessary. Like the retreat coming through from Gangstars here. I think it's a very valuable tactic to be doing. No follow-up on the Fire Spit from Saucer. Has to be very careful not to lose the last bit of their health to maybe a long-range Grove Rax coming through. Doesn't quite know the positioning there, but Fire Spit over the wall will help reveal some of that. Free space and time was used to try and open up this fight, but again, it's Saucer who appears to be doing so. Topping the damage charts right now at 87,000, 89,000. Double kill for Saucer. Make that a triple. Will they find the quadra kill in the air? 200 health remaining, 20 health remaining. Oh, Music has to know where they are, but they don't. Through comes the protection from Torvald. Astral Mark still on them, and Saucer survives and heals back up the full without a combat regen. Re-engaging, now looking for the kill onto Michaela. Can't quite find it around the corner. Music's engaged up into the air, will be able to assert dominance around the objective at last, but Skozas throws out the Dome Shield contesting, and actually this will zone out Ash from the objective area. And she doesn't want to wait for the immunity to time out and then get hit with the full flamethrower damage. Music still surviving for the time being, is very low, finally eliminated by Skozas, but respawn proximity from Team Cryptic allows the red team to stay alive here. 47 seconds remaining. Menschmeyer suicides to rejoin their team and avoid the staggered respawns. Team Cryptic still have the opportunity to defend here, but Gangstars, they're looking good on their pushes so far. The one thing that we got to remark on, as Saucer actually going back to base, has had enough credits to make the mid-round buy. But Cauterize too, and Morale Boost too, charges their ultimate, and that was the question I was about to ask, is will we end up having the ultimates come out here for Gangstars on push? Do they want to make this one go through no matter what? Do they need to rely on holding their ultimates in the tank for the next capture objective? 15 seconds left on the clock. Out goes Fire Spit, forcing out Whirlwind from Grover as well. This is huge for Gangstars right now. No sign of a contest coming through. Fire Spit and Salvo decimates Michaela on the objective. Goldex tries to contest very, very briefly alongside Inara, but it just won't be enough. Westo finds 2 in a row. Saucer and Navron clean up the rest. And that's the successful push coming through from Gangstars. Now, 3-1. They're poised to not just take this game, but also take the set, folks. And that was a beautiful play coming out from Gangstars, all in all. Opened up by Saucer, the Dragon Punch into a Void Cryptonara. No opportunity to place their Impastor stall out there. Wonderful way to kick things off. Field study on them as well. Protection allows them to survive, and Saucer continues to do so much damage. The opposing backline of Team Cryptic, that there is no way to respond. Fire Spit Salvo one-shots Maeve. How do you respond to that apart from not get hit by it? And with that in mind, offensive itemization, whilst it might all be evened up right here, whilst we're seeing the Chronos 3 come out of Goldex, Navron holding more on towards Chronos 2 and going for Cauterize 2 here. The damage dealt charts are significantly in favor of Gangstars currently. Even with triple frontline, they're holding on. Through time and space once again, channeled. Michaela being focused here. Out comes Dread Serpent from Maldamba, but it's not enough to buy the zoning. Fire Spit not going to connect from Saucer. They'll turn their attention more towards the backline of this fight once again, as Gangstars have cleared the area. 3-1 scoreline, 50% very shortly. And climbing for Gangstars. This team in blue looks to zone, providing no opportunity for Team Cryptic to return to the fight. But maybe there's opportunity for a comeback here just yet. Midnight, activated by Maeve, will allow Michaela to traverse towards the objective. Down goes the seismic crash from Inara for the first time all game, it feels like. And contesting will be Westo and Immortal briefly. Down goes Dome Shield as well. Ash doesn't have a Sir Dominance. It's just being used, though, on the objective. And that'll contest straight through the flamethrower turret. Double kill for Michaela as they do find the kill successfully onto Westo. Will it be a triple? It will for Michaela, and Team Cryptic come back in with the comeback of the entire set to hold on tooth and nail to this game so far. 70% and climbing. They got the comeback mechanic on their side. Team Cryptic are rising so rapidly on the objective. Westo makes their way in. Up goes the shield, but the record 3 from Maeve on Michaela makes very short work of that. Dragon Punch, challenged by Saucer, goes in looking for Maeve, but relocate with Pounce. It's phenomenal. Saucer doesn't find a single kill with that on the objective. Whirlwind keeps everybody alive, and Sizzy will be able to help that team pull through here, potentially, as it's 99 and 97%. Contesting is Skozas, but no, Ninokuki finds the double kill. Only Saucer remains, and then short work for Michaela in the air. Excuse me, Westo 2 persists. But Fernando, with no health left, and bare minimum of shield versus a Raka 3 Maeve, nothing left of them. Team Cryptic gain successful capture here, and now provide themselves with an opportunity to keep themselves in this game and tie things up 3-3 with a successful conversion. You've got to ask in that situation, if potentially we'd seen Sizzy taken out by the Dragon Punch, which Saucer was aiming at them, or if they managed to connect onto Maeve, how different of a situation would that be? Would Gangstars have maybe found victory just with a numbers advantage there? Maybe so. Musix connects on the Saucer, though. Michaela Skozas as well with the incoming damage. Sizzy is looking for pressure, but beautiful positioning from Menschmeyer on Torvald. Even though they're likely to fall here, is enough to find the Hyper Beam that throws one enemy off the map. It was Michaela, and buys some breathing room on defense. Not enough, though. The front line persists. Team Cryptic have Inara and Ash left on the objective. Maeve's already respawned. Doesn't feel like that ultimate did enough there to really be worthwhile. Would have preferred to see that pick up more kills. That's a couple of times in a row now that we have actually seen the ultimate used Hyper Beam towards members of the team who are CC immune, including this Inara running the Mother's Grace Legendary. Was the objective. Gangstars rain down death from above. Saucer trying to hold on to their team. Field study buff shots do not connect. Actually, one dozen of Musix. Followed by, again, some breathing room for this team in blue here. Currently double kill for Saucer as they positively slam down onto Ninokuki. 3 in a row. Goldex meets their match. 57 seconds left on this payload push. Gangstars hold on and hold steady. Team Cryptic still do have the opportunity to go for a conversion in this situation. They still do have the opportunity to hold on and maybe push themselves towards a victory. Give themselves the advantage in the next capture as well, with Team Cryptic having half comeback mechanic. But Team Cryptic, well, they have Seismic Crash available. Assert Dominance is coming up. Dread Serpent is 100% charged right now. And we once again ask the question, what is worthwhile using in this situation? Team Cryptic are down on points. Can they afford to potentially push for a conversion, allow Gangstars to charge their ultimates, and gain the advantage in a neutral fight just with these game-impacting plays? We'll have to see. Payload nears conversion. Westo contest briefly. Nino Kuki comes in on Inara looking for the damage. Green Tanky currently in Earthen Guard. Still has to be careful with the incoming pressure. Gnosis is back contesting again, but no, Michaela finds a double kill on Maeve so far. Triple kill from Michaela, and Saucer does answer back, but in the air, Sizzy shuts the dragon down with a direct damage axe. Skosis can only contest for so long. Bowling Ball personal shield does keep him alive briefly, and Navron's looking to maybe contest here, but Westo is crippled out beautifully by Sizzy's Grover. The end there. Can't make their way towards the objective with charge in time. And Team Cryptic, without using a single ultimate, push through for conversion and bait out Dome Shield in the process. That is huge. That is absolutely huge from Team Cryptic. We asked the question earlier, do Team Cryptic want to use their ultimates? Is that good efficacy of ultimates to use them on the payload push to allow themselves to equalize the scoreline, put themselves in a more stable position versus Gangstars there? But if Gangstars are able to hold ultimates in the tank, probably not the case. Team Cryptic, though, they just make this push off of picks entirely. They find the kills that they need and are able to create space as a result. Gangstars now itemizing heavily into resilience. Have it picked up on level 3 for 3 members of their team. Don't want to deal with a crippling throw coming out of Sizzy or the knockback or coming from Musix. Maybe Goldex is stunned as well on Dread Serpent with that fear. Speaking of Sizzy, setting up the high ground, they drop a quick Blossom heal onto Maeve, and Skoses gets taken down for first blood. Dragon Punch comes through from Saucer. Midnight has been activated by Maeve. There's the Assert Dominance, and Saucer can't find the damage with Dragon Punch for the second time in a row here. Really good work from Saucer to be able to stabilize with a return kill towards Maeve in response. Is able to stay alive and put out some additional damage towards the objective, and Salvo should at least zone out Maldamba from around there. But will it be enough? We need to see kills coming through. Nanara activates Seismic Crash to stun out Menschmeyer. Down goes Immortal from Westo, keeping the team alive momentarily, but Nino Kuki just heals through all of the incoming damage. Cauterize level 3 just doesn't matter versus this Earthen Guard and Rejuvenate combo with all of Maldamba's incoming healing. And Ninu finds the kill on a Westo as well. 72% and rising. 3-3 all tied up between these two teams. Gangstars are only at 9%. They've got to find their way back towards the objective, but Menschmeyer gets slowed. Will it be enough to zone? Down goes the impasse. Skosis contests briefly, but in comes the Stone Spear from Nino Kuki, finding a rampage here on the end of the objective. Torvald throws out Hyper Beam, can't find a single kill off the back of it though, and Maeve looks to end their life here as Michaela gets the slay onto Menschmeyer. 3 members on the objective. Dragon Punch ends Nino Kuki's life, and somehow this team of Gangstars was able to make a comeback, but it just doesn't seem to matter. Dread Serpent was perfectly timed. Triple kill from Michaela's Maeve here. Will they find the quadra kill as Barrack is so low? Skosis, one more set of daggers will do it, but it is Sizzy in the end who picks up the kill, and Team Cryptic claim victory in game number 3 to advance through to your finals this week. What a game we just saw there, champions. It may as well be 50,000 eliminations. It certainly felt like it, but let's take a look at the scoreboard for the time being because, oh my goodness, that game just did not end. Woo! 3-3, as close as it gets. Not 99 to 99%, but Gangstars certainly did a good job of contesting throughout the duration. And Saucer put in some serious legwork in this triple frontline composition. You know, that's always the concern of triple frontline, is will your single damage carry be able to really shift the work for your team? Will they have it in them? Be able to do the legwork and do the damage necessary to make up for the lack thereof and maybe some of the frontline champions. 182,000 for Saucer, 27 eliminations. Well, 27 kills, excuse me. 39 eliminations. I think it's safe to say, yes. But even that was not enough towards the end. And it didn't seem to be the lack of damage, which was the problem there. You know, Gangstars didn't have a lack of damage. They actually significantly outdamaged all of their opponents in every single situation, with the exception of Goldex somehow dealing 73k on Maldamba, which I find honestly relatively shocking. Goldex, I gotta learn some of your secrets, man. I can barely heal people as Maldamba, and we typically see Maldamba low on the damage chart, so that is a very impressive scoreline. The big thing for me was Source's Dragon Punches not connecting due to the midnight activation of Michaela. And like clockwork towards the end of the game, it seemed to just get in sync. Out comes Dragon Punch, you hear Behold the Dragon's Fury, Maeve turns out the lights, Drogos doesn't know where to connect. And that ultimate, that one-shot ability which could take down a front line, or maybe a support on the side of Team Cryptic, was completely, as high as pretty I would say, skunked out in its entirety. Great play, great coordination from Team Cryptic, deserving a place in the finals here today. And speaking of the finals, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and see exactly what matchup will be coming up next. Get ready to bring it to your screens. We've just seen Team Cryptic take the 2-1 victory over Gangstars and advance through. On the other side of the bracket, it is Bulls versus Blazing Hussars, which will be coming up next. And if all of you who are watching here via various different streaming platforms would like to take a look at these teams' rosters, find out a little bit of history about them, then you can do so very, very easily by visiting the bracket and clicking on the team. You can do that in Twitch by using !bracket and YouTube by checking the video description for a direct link to there, and you can see how these teams have stacked up against each other in previous weeks. Give you a bit more history towards this specific situation. For the time being, folks, we do need to cut to a short break whilst we get things set up for round number 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment with the second set of semifinals of the day. Bulls versus Blazing Hussars comes up next. But just in case you did end up missing some of the premier action across the weekend from the Paladins Premier League, let's go ahead and take a look at the recap for the European region for week number 2 of our professional standard competition.
Welcome back, Paladins fans, for another European Regional PPL recap. This one's going to be for Week 2. And Week 2 had a lot of expectations going into it, but Europe, they sure delivered. The first matchup of the weekend was one we assumed would actually be pretty one-sided in favor of Fnatic, against a largely unproven Virtus Pro. But VP came out swinging on Frog Isle, capping and converting for a 2-0 lead in the first round. But Fnatic quickly figured out what was going wrong, and they were able to finish a quick 2-0 set that we were expecting. The next heavyweight matchup between Ninjas in Pajamas and Fnatic would tell us much. A lot of roster changes between these two teams in particular, and a lot of history would no doubt make this one of the most exciting matchups in the entire PPL. Game 1 would go very well for NiP on Frog Isle, a map that they traditionally do very well on. Fnatic, they put up a good fight but still lost the map 4-2 to NiP. Game 2, Fnatic got a great, highly mobile 3 DPS draft on Serpent Beach, something that they're frankly known for. They were able to narrowly, though, take the map 4-3. It would all come down to a showdown on Jaguar Falls. Armed with 3 frontliners and a pocket pick Lex, Ninjas in Pajamas would scrap out another 4-3 win and continue their journey in the PPL undefeated. The next matchup would be a battle for the bottom. Virtus Pro versus Mouse Sports, both still looking for their first win. This matchup would be critical for both teams, as neither want to give up what would be their easiest matchup of the entire PPL stretch. The will to win burns strong from both teams, and this set would still go all the way. But Virtus Pro would be the last man standing and find the critical win over Mouse Sports. And now it's fitting that the final match of the day would be the battle for the throne. Both Na'Vi and Ninjas in Pajamas with undefeated records, both having defeated Fnatic, both looking to claim the top spot in Europe. And how could this set do anything but go all the way? Na'Vi took Game 1, but of course NiP were able to battle back and take Game 2 on Frozen Guard. And this set, as well as the top spot in Europe, would be decided on Na'Vi's map pick of Splitstone Quarry. Surprise, surprise, this one would come down to the wire. A 3-3 scoreboard. Both teams could secure the set with one final teamfight win. The scene looked grim for NiP as Sheepa and Perdo were low HP, corralled into a small room clinging to Bird for life. Creatives smelled blood in the water, and I'm convinced if he were able to get through the door and inside the room, he would have slain those 3 players in seconds. NiP would need a hero. Now, we know not all heroes wear capes, but in this instance, he did. Lazy, piloting the Bomb King, seemed to truly come out of nowhere to catch Creatives off guard, delete him, keep his teammates alive, swing the fight, and allow NiP to take the set, claim the top spot in Europe, and stay undefeated in their PPL career. The standings in EU after Week 2 are as follows. Nadas Vincier with 2 wins and 1 loss. Ninjas in Pajamas with 3 wins, no losses. Fnatic with 2 wins, 2 losses. Virtus Pro has 1 win, 2 losses. And Mouse Sports rounding us out at 0 wins and 3 losses. That was a really, really great day, but we've got more good action for you coming obviously tomorrow in North America. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're staying tuned to the facebook.com/PaladinsGame channel. My name has been Pretty Hair, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
to seize you and you will be free. Everything comes back around if you only believe. I feel a glow in my heart, that's you inside of me. All the world's riches and diamonds will one day be sold. Trinkets will just hold you down when life takes its toll. Everything you ever need is inside of your soul. You give me life. You give me life. You give me
Welcome back then, champions, to this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, for Cup number 26. Of course, my name is still Hi-Res Vox. It might change at some point in the future. We'll have to That'd be interesting, actually, if I change names halfway through the cast. But regardless, we've already seen, as we can see, well, on your screen right now, Team Cryptic take the 2-1 victory over Gangstars. In the first set of the semi-finals, Bulls versus Blazing Hussars are up next, and we do have our map draft ready. So let's head straight on through and see exactly where this set will be kicking things off, what's taken off the table, what is going to be available for these teams to play as well, for map number 1. With that on your screens right now, should be able to take a look through and see that, first of all, banned out is Ice Mines, so Bulls going back to the sort of quintessential bans of Ice Mines and Timber Mill of the Paladins competitive scene. Blazing Hussars, however, they say, we want to force you out of your comfort zone a bit. Let's take away Jaguar Falls. Let's take away one of the common maps in rotation, and if this set goes late, maybe push something like a Stone Keep, a Split Stone Quarry, maybe even a Timber Mill if they've been practicing pocket strategies here, which could be very interesting indeed. Map number 1, therefore, will be Serpent Beach. Is the location that we are heading to. I'm excited to see how it all breaks down. But once again, champions, let's head straight on through to our draft for the day for this map number 1 game of Serpent Beach and see who's going to gain the initial advantage before it even begins. On your screen right now, of course, visible. Blazing Hussars have first ban. They strip Torvald away from their opponents, which I like and appreciate. Torvald is pretty strong on most maps. They just don't want to deal with the damage amp composition, which Rainday has talked so much about during the PPL recently. Bulls therefore take away Makara as well. A relatively neutral first pick of Ruckus on a map like Serpent Beach is rather unsurprising. Aerial Assault brings some verticality. Ash and Barrack come through next, however. That's really important. They're getting front line established. Bulls don't want to give the Blazing Hussars the opportunity to draft a very strong triple front line composition here. Blazing Hussars will take an early Genos pick then, which I like, alongside the Ruckus. Astral Mark very, very strong in terms of just providing a bit of fire and forget heal ability. Cassie a neutral damage pick here, so Blazing Hussars holding a lot back in the tank at this point. While Damba drafting for Bulls then, as well as Bomb King, so supportive damage online, getting some AoE denial here. He didn't last pick direct damage, but maybe saving that open in case they need hit scan, in case a Drogoz comes out exactly as it does for Blazing Hussars, who pick up Drogoz and Inara to round out their draft. Finalizing things then, Bulls are ready. Who will it be? Will it be a Leon? Will it be... Oh, an Androx is coming through. Now that would have been scary if Blazing Hussars didn't take up the Torvald. It's terrifying enough as is. No longer quite the same hit scan champion of the skies that we are used to. The recoil and weapon inaccuracy coming through now. Well, they've got to get more up close and personal to deal damage, but the DPS that Androxus is able to put out is formidable. I can't wait to see how this game goes down. As usual, folks, 2 minutes on the clock before we do get into game, but I want to know your thoughts on this. Who's gained the advantage in the champion draft here so far, by your measure? Personally, for me, I'm liking Blazing Hussars, but Bulls, their Androxus, well, it might just be enough. We'll have to find out as we get ready for game number 1 of this semi-final set.
If you really wanna get to know me.
2014, tell them holla at you, telling whole scene. Mix and buy at you, put it all and break apart. Hope you good, don't break apart. Essence of the dark twist. F it, you good, listen. Don't let them go and take your spot. Find your zone every day wishing. Family don't break apart. Damn, it's a cold ass world from the start. Everything we gotta do, stay young, concerned. Wanna change, young fella, damn, who you gon' learn? If you understand, listen. Now being heated and fitting. Putting this out, can you feel it in the wishing?
You seem ready to give up. Keep going, don't you stop. A little ain't enough, 'cause I ain't easy. So you wanna get to know me. I ain't gonna give you any help. Guess you're gonna have to show me. All of you, nobody else. So you wanna get to know me. I ain't gonna give you any help.
Set 2, Game 1 then, of the semi-finals of this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. It's Bull versus Blazing Azars, or rather Blazing Azars versus Bulls, as on the left-hand side of your screen is the BH team. And once again, my name is Vox. As we transition through to Serpent Beach here, let's check out exactly what legendaries we'll be seeing this time around in-game. Celestial Touch taken for the Baku's Genos for Blazing Azars, Aerial Assault for Kamika, on Ruckus, Zexalos, on Exaction Cassie, as usual. Bit of a reputation for that now. Grafis on Wormjets, Drogo's Mother's Grace, Inara for Dyla. On the other side of things, Bulls have Kodaj, Konai, and Battering on Ash, Malcolm on Spirit's Chosen Maldamba, BlastQ on Godslayer and Droxus, Real Sign on Tinker and Barrack, and Toot Toot on Acceler and Bomb King. It's this Grogos that I'm interested to see coming out of play. How well they'll be countered by Androxus, who finds the headshot. Pick up first blood, but a beautiful lift from the Baku with their Void Grip. Quickly answers back in trade. Zexalos being pushed towards the backside despite Blazing Azars have to be careful, but Dyla is stacking up very healthily on the objective. Mother's Grace is active. Their Earthen Guard providing with a lot of increased healing whilst that is channeled. Zexalos finds Kodaj Konai in the backline. And all the while, the Baku has just been providing consistent healing for the rest of their team. Kamika sets up on high ground, and in comes Androxus. And it is only Godslayer that they have, so the Darkstalker kill potential that we've seen picked up as a flavor of the week for so long now. Not something which is coming out of play. Be interesting to see how that mounts up. Grafis throws out the fire spit towards Real Sign-In, gets the easy slay onto Barrack as Salvo charged and ready. Looks for Tutu around the corner. Only 2 rockets connect. Bomb King thrusts up into the air with their Poppy Bomb, lands a couple of sticks and gets the kill on the Grafis. So really good play from Tutu. But it wasn't enough to break the objective hold. Out comes Grumpy Bomb. One slay onto the Baku. Contesting is Tutu. Back at full health momentarily. In comes Ruckus and Zexalos on Cassie to really answer back. Even though the players drop, Bulls keep one player alive on the front line. Real Sign-In needs to hit one more shot on Dyla. BlastQ who ends up filing it. Filing them away on the objective. Bulls hold on momentarily. A great stall there from Tutu to the back. Able to keep themselves alive. Fantastic out-of-combat regen and healing came through. Just a clutch moment and a good kill towards the Genos. As through time and space is channeled, this could mean danger. Dyla's contesting behind their Earthen Guard, behind their impasse wall as well. Real Sign-In will be able to go toe-to-toe with them, however, and now it's 99 to 87%, 90% and rising. In comes Kamika looking at the contest. They dunk straight towards the objective. Oh, Hexafire is ready. It was activated there, I think, right at the beginning, but way too much damage comes through from Toot Toot, shutting down all opponents. Seismic Crash from Dyla buys some time on the objective for the moment, but the incoming damage repeatedly from the sticky bombs as well as Kodaj Konai dunking down is just too much for these players to deal with. King Bomb from Toot Toot comes through as well. Doesn't shut down Dragon Punches. Grafis comes through, but it's too little too late. Bulls have already captured. They've managed to gain themselves 1-0 on the objective so far. They're looking to convert that into even more as BlastQ throws no sign of stopping, shows no sign of stopping, lands the one-punch wonder to take out Kamika. Oh my goodness, that might be the first time I've seen that effective in competitive level play. That's quite the way to get the execution, regardless. Now it's been interesting so far to see how this Drogo's is being dealt with. Zexalos goes down to Toot Toot on the high ground. Don't want to box out with a chain reaction Bomb King there if you're not being very, very careful. BlastQ is going up and over on a sneaky route towards the enemy backline. Finds a dismount to Kamika. Long range damage from Godslayer is good as well. A couple of extra shots of poke. There's their attention to Grafis. And really for me, the deal breaker or the deal maker was potentially how well this Androxus stacked up with the rest of their team. So far, well, has been doing certainly a lot of work for them. If you take a look at the damage charts, right at the top they are sitting. I want to see a little bit more from them. I want to see better target prioritization towards Drogo's here in the future. Zexalos forced the dodge roll away, did miss a dodge roll reset there. Their incitement shot.
Enemy killing spree.
Throws out blast shot around the corner, doesn't find anything, but Kamika will. Kamika now looks to convert onto more additional kills as they recognize that Androxus is maybe out of position here. Able to retreat to the rest of their team. Missiles could be thrown out, met with a barricade. Not much really gained there from Kamika so far. Real Sign-In doing a good job at keeping their team safe and healthy. Alright, cool that up in one, needs to place that inside this building potentially to receive some extra healing, but Gord on the ground will supplement them nicely. And now the payload begins to move again as the front line is being forced out. BlastQ, having taken down the Grafis already, opens things up. But no, Zexalos comes back in on Cassie, picks up Real Sign-In for one. Looks for some long-range shots towards Toot Toot in the backline here. Finds a couple in a row, and that'll be enough to disengage Bomb King from this fight just through pressure of damage. But they can convert this anymore. BlastQ comes back into the fight, boxes out versus Kamika, finds 3 headshots in a row. Impressive considering the inaccuracy coming through. Successive shots on the Dyla do follow up as well. Pulaski is looking for more here. Resets off of the impasse wall as well, thanks to the power of the Abyss card in their loadout. And tries to find the opportunity to take down Grafis. 1, 2, 3, 4 shots in a row. Even without Darkstalker, that'll do it. Finds the dodge roll reset. Finds, the dodge roll reset? The nether step reset there with Power of the Abyss, and is holding a cursed arm in the palm of their hands, forcing out now the Baku towards the backside of this fight, back into reversal. One shot to the Baku, takes down Zexlos as well. The beautiful flick, double kill for Blasku so far. Will they convert towards our triple kill? Stunned up by Inara. Dyla says no, but on the objective, there's too much incoming damage just from the Bomb King. Hexafire activated, but Dome Shield in response for Real Silence should be enough to hold things down. Around and about goes Barak, dodging Grafis, finds the slug shot in midair to be able to take down Kamika and Grafis as well. Zexlos answers back with a kill to Malcolm. The respawn is real, the trickle is real, but it's a triple kill for Real Silent so far. Will they find the quadra kill? 1 versus 2, I don't think that that'll happen. Real Silent is nimble, but will it be enough? But Blasky returns to the fight. Oh my goodness, the reversal doesn't connect with the Grafis, but the successive shots do. And oh, at the last second, Kamika comes in and shuts them down. But Bulls push successfully as Kamika thrusts up into the air and leaves the objective clear. Misplay from Blazing Azars. Bulls lead 2-0 after the first payload push. And already you can see the disparity in terms of kills after that last round. Let's take a look at the KDA real fast. 12 for Blasku currently on Androxus for Bulls. That's something which Blazing Azars need to find a way to deal with. They did with a good Void Grip right at the beginning of this game. Since, Blasky has been a continual thorn in the side of this team, through and throughout. Back to the items once again. The successive credit lead has allowed a Cauterized 3 to be picked up by Androxus already. Nobody can 1v1 this monster right now. Blazing Azars have got to act coordinated if they want to try and turn this fight around. Dabble from Grafis, not really going to find much damage towards Kodash Konai. Toot coming in as well. Give your king a big hug, they say, but no! Gets shut down by Grafis. Blasku tries to drop the accursed arm, but the Baku shuts them down in midair with a through time and space, through space and time, through something about this high-res Y. At the last second, I could be playing Smite again, but no, Grafis comes back in now towards the back line on this objective, throws out a massive salvo towards their opponents. Doesn't find the kill as Zexlos is able to take out 1, Malcolm down. Kodash Konai 2. Blazing Azars continue their onslaught of damage, their onslaught of pressure here. And Real Sign-In, well, they put up a good 1v4 fight last time around, this time faced with Grafis. With no pressure from Androxus coming through. It's a bit of a different story. Clean capture, 100-0 for Blazing Azars. 2-1 on the scoreline still, because Bulls did gain a successful conversion. But Blazing Azars looking like they want to come back into this very, very strong. Who gave Janus the same ability, almost the same ability name as Janus? Those of you who are unfamiliar, I came from Smite before Paladins, and I've got over 2,000 hours in that game. Sometimes you get locked into these ability names, folks. But speaking of locked into danger, it's Grafis locked into a kill spree right now. Rampage 5 in a row for the Drogos rocking the Samba launcher. As Blasku goes down. Who's the real Lord of the Skies now, they say? And the payload push continues up to the high ground. Fire Spit is channeled. Kodash Konai forced to shoulder bash away. And Grafis doing such a good job at just min-maxing everywhere on Drogos. Comes around from behind, looks fresh, gets the easy slay. And Androxus can try and turn things around here. Looks for some damage, gets the reversal reset onto Grafis, but pressure is too much. Forced out of the situation, the payload continues towards conversion. There's Nobi stalling it out. Toot goes in with Poppy Bomb just the last second, but everybody else is too far away. No other anticlimactic conversion for Blazing Azars as they equalize on the scoreline. Now tied up at 9 minutes and 10 seconds in. 2-2 here. And you can see that with that, the offensive itemizations have started to be stabilized between these two teams. Bulls currently still holding a bit of an advantage here. You know, Zexlos already itemized into a Chronos, has lower credits overall left to spend on offensive items. Kamika as well, going into a bit of a crazy budget build here, actually. And let's take a look at Kamika's loadout as well, if we can, just to see why he might be doing this. Min-maxing on the amount of advanced charges that you can get with Chronos, as well as the amount of emitters, as well as Refraction 4 you can see. But Dyla still has Cauterized 3 online, which means when they're fighting out against frontline, Blazing Azars will still be able to match the level of anti-heal coming through from Bulls. Once again, Blastcue is the player that I'm looking at to make the difference here. Through time and space is channeled, doesn't find any damage, up to the air. Oh, and Nara finds a seismic crash, and this could be huge as Dyla looks to get a shutdown towards Barak here. Void gripped into the air, real sign-in takes out Dyla for one. Bulls hold the objective strong so far. The Baku comes through, but Grafis finds a double kill on Drogos, looks to convert that into a triple kill. Zexalos will pick up the slack, and now it's back to Blazing Azaz, and the objective is Dread Serpent is thrown out to absolutely no avail, missing every single player. Kamika stays alive, regenerates without a combat regen, and meets a face full of salvo towards Tutu. From Grafis, as Kamika moves in for the kill. Man on the backline, Grafis just says, come on, and slam once again. Puts the pressure on towards their opposition. Takes out Maldamba with no sustain left on the side of Bulls. It's up to Ash and assert dominance to hold things down, but here comes Dragon Punch. Very low health members in the back of this fight. Could be overkill. Could be an overextension as well as Blastcue gets the shutdown. Now there's the opportunity for Bulls to come back into this. Blazing Azaz hold the objective with 81% rising. Beautiful use of the impasse wall comes through. Blastcue tries to get to the objective to take it into overtime just in enough time, but no, Janos comes through with Void Grip from behind. Out comes Tutu with King Bomb, but the Baku survives. Detonated too early, and Kamika uses Hexafire to get the shutdown. Beautiful play from Blazing Azaz. Capture advantage 3 to them once again. 3-2 on the scoreline, looking for conversion. Will they be able to do it for a second time in a row? I see some advance as well. Kamika avoids the stun from Malcolm. Bulls have an uphill battle ahead of them at this point. I mean, Blazing Azaz have just looked so strong throughout the duration of these latter 2 fights. And I've got to ask, what happened in the first one? If Blazing Azaz had been able to take the fights with this much ease initially, was it literally just the fact that they didn't realize they had to focus the Androxus early to be able to pull out a victory in this situation? Because that's what's happening now, and that's what seems to be working out. Retreating for the time being though, Bulls recognize that they have the advantage to push for some extended zone here. Will do so successfully. Kodash Kona being healed up nicely by Malcolm's Maldamba. Couple of shots thrown out. Ooh, Dyla returning to the fight, as in Nara. Very healthy, trying to box out versus the Androxus. Seismic Crash channel once again, immune by Kodaj Konai's shoulder bash with battering ram equipped, as well as Slither from Maldamba, but now Dyla's chasing into the mix. The Cursed Arm comes through from Blastcue, finds the double kill as they shut down Kamika. Charging into the backline, looks towards Zexalos. Up goes Reversal, massive Godslayer damage, rips through Cassie, and Zexalos goes down. Will it be the double-double? It will indeed for Blastcue. The punch to finish things off is the inaccuracy from maybe the nerves there, as well as the reticle bloom was too much for them to be able to cope with. And again, a staggered respawn of the Dyla. Good play overall from Bulls. Just making sure that the respawns come back through at a very, very delayed rate. Allows them to gain an advantage here on the defense. 39 seconds remaining. Blazing Azaz have really one more opportunity to go for a payload push. Potentially looking for an overtime stall, but with Cauterize level 3 online, yes, it's Earthen Guard and Mother's Grace in Nara, but it might not be enough. But Blastcue finds a huge reversal to take down the Baku to start this off. Double kill as they land a headshot onto a Nara and a punch to finish. Was that 1337 damage I saw in the Grafis as they pick up a triple kill as well? Will they find Kamika? Reversal comes up. The reset comes through. Blastcue is able to clutch it. No, Kamika shuts them down, but Real Cyanin picks up the slack. And oh my goodness, this Androxus play that we're seeing here today is phenomenal. Bulls hold everything towards that team, and even though overtime is ticking in favor of Dyla, this payload surely is not going to get pushed through, but the respawns are trickling back at this moment. Grafis finds a double kill, looks for Andrew in the sky. Oh, nice reversal reset there, but Zexalos has their number. Blazing Azaz hold the advantage still. All from that contest of Dyla. The Earthen Guard, the Mother's Grace we're so used at this point to seeing Treacherous Ground picked up as a staple legendary for Nara. The Cripple, very useful against hypermobile teams, but looking at Bull's composition, going into just survivability instead, and the ability to heal. Nara hold their team to a huge advantage. Dyla sets up on the front line of the fight, has Seismic Crash available, could be channeled here any moment. Ash says, let's fight, and now Dyla is in the perfect position to be able to use that ultimate if they choose to. Is getting burst down very fast, but out comes Earthen Guard. The channeled heal from Maldamba, Mending Spirit's doing so much work. Here we go with Seismic Crash, sends Blastcue to the ground, the Baku cleans them up, and from behind, Kodaj Konai focused down so well with Void Grip. It's up to Tutu to try and stall out their team, but Dyla has the tankiness provided by that Earthen Guard. They're so survivable right now, and Grafis finds 2 in a row. The stagger is real, the trickle is real, but it doesn't change the outcome, folks. Blazing Azaz push it through for victory in game number 1 in a 4-2 conversion. oh my goodness, we saw some plays that game. But going back to what it always comes down to, champions, it's coordination that wins you your games. And that's what we saw come out beautifully from Blazing Hussars. Now, the pressure and the presence which Bulls were able to bring to the table during the first capture objective, as well as the first payload push, was phenomenal. And we saw that a lot of that was on the back of Blascu. A lot of that as well on Real Cyanin, who was able to find 3 kills, 1v3, as the staggered trickled respawns came through towards the end of the overtime push, buying time for their team to be able to respawn and run all the way back from the other end of the map. There were some fantastic hyper moments, but overall the team coordination just seemed to be more cohesive from the side of Blazing Hussars. A lot of kills set up with Seismic Crash from Dyler that were actively followed up on by the damage from Grafis playing the nimble Wormjet's Drogos. Zexalos there was to answer onto every Void Grip where Blascu's Androxus was raised up into the air, ensuring that the one-trick wonder that did so much devastation, the backline and the frontline of Blazing Hussars on the initial capture, couldn't go off for free again. So good target prioritization, good counter strategies, and adaptation on the fly is what brought this team to victory here in game number 1. That was just game number 1. It is a best of 3 set in the semifinals, folks, and it is far from over. Let's take a look at the map draft for map number 2, with Serpent Beach already going the way of Blazing Hussars here. We now head to Pip's homeland of Brightmarsh to see how things will go down. So join us then, champions, once again as we get ready for the champion draft. Map number 2 on Brightmarsh, Bulls versus Blazing Hussars, to see if maybe this time around Bulls can find a path to victory through their draft, if they'll have to adjust their gameplay to really be able to bring themselves back in to this set. Bulls then do have first pick, Blazing Hussars back on second. Oh, the Drogus ban, that is a respect ban if I have ever seen one. They do not want to have Grafis on that champion once again. Blazing Hussars, they're confident just to ban out Makoa. Does leave Maeve open, could be a first pick potential here on a map with plenty of verticality. What will Bulls elect to go into? No, Torvald still left open. Field study, watch out for the bonus damage. Oh, how devastating Blascu was on Androxus last game. And if they manage to get a field study Torvald on them as well, whew, that is going to be a significant DPS increase. 40% in fact, exactly, with the field study protection. But only for 2 seconds. Blazing Hussars draft Bomb King and Barrack in response. Bomb King useful around the capture objective in a small and compact map like this. Ash and Ruckus for Bulls then, recognizing that maybe they were simply not outlasting their opponents. Triple frontline is the flavor of the week for this team. Blazing Hussars once again go back into Anara Maldamba though, and after seeing how phenomenally Dyla performed in the previous game and received so much channeled healing from Maldamba during clutch moments thanks to the Earthen Guard's increased amount of healing that they receive, and with the Mother's Grace Legendary, I think that this strategy is one that we have underestimated, coming back in and being at the forefront of this scene. Bulls ran out with Janus Cassie, surprising there. Neutral damage, but a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Cassie to be able to perform in this situation. And Blazing Hussars end up with Maeve. Once again, champions, 2 minutes on our clock before we begin the next game. Bulls versus Blazing Hussars, map number 2 on Brightmarsh. Bulls have got to find a victory here to push this set all the way to 3 games, but Blazing Hussars looked poised for the kill strike. Let me know your predictions in chat. We'll be back once again after the break. Welcome back then, Champions of the Realm, to map number 2 of this best of 3 semi-final set for the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. Number 26, Bulls down 1 game, Blazing Hussars up 1 currently. Let's take a look back at the legendaries here for the map of Brightmarsh, having just gone through the champion draft. Of course, for the team of Bulls now fighting out of the blue corner, it's Kodash Konai leading with Battering Ram Ash once again. Malcolm, this time on Celestial Touch Genos, Blastq on Field Study Torvald, Real Sign, and on Exaction Cassian Toot on Arid Assault Ruckus. Opposing the triple frontline composition is Blazing Hussars with the Baku on Spirit's Chosen Maldumba, Dyla on Mother's Grace Inara, Kamika with Artful Dodger Maeve, Zexlos, Tinkering Barrack and Grafis, Chain Reaction Bomb King. This Bomb King is the one that I'm keeping my eyes to after they did so much work on Drogos in the previous game. I want to see BK go big, and beautiful shoulder bash. These Kodash Konai to a massive overextension, double kill from the bonus damage chain reaction bombs from Grafis for the second one in a row. 2-2 being forced out, advances straight into the ocean, and this game may be over before it has already begun, folks. Again, we come back to the subject line of, oh, so triple frontline composition. It's designed to win early, or that's your aim when you've drafted, right? Is you go, we're going to get on the point, and you're not going to be able to move us because we have too many shields, we have too much health, we have too much healing, and we're going to snowball this game before you're able to take us down. But so far, that's not what Bulls have been able to do. Blazing Hussars have found a counter to them. Kamika prowls the backline now, looking potentially for Malcolm's Genos. The spy coming through the angle. Oh, Pouncing about to be off cooldown. The double daggers do connect. Pounces retain that as movement ability, and even though 2-2 is providing some zone, they're taking half the health away from Kamika right now. Got to be careful that Torvald doesn't want to get silenced by the channel here. Needs to be very careful of Ruckus incoming, as 2-2 could shut them down quite easily. The trade comes through though, and Kamika lands the daggers for the double kill with 133 health remaining. Sitting on a gourd overtime is ticking. Blazing Hussars will gain the first capture of this game unless a freak contest comes through, which it does not. Beautiful capture, beautiful play, really understanding how to defeat the composition which has been drafted against them and dismantle it at the seams. With that in mind, Blazing Hussars are already sitting on 2 fully charged ultimates, about to be 4 fully charged ultimates as well. Tyler sets up on the front line. As Impasse on cooldown currently, needs to be very careful of the incoming damage. Tries to track Torvald, places down their Waters field, and double kill for Dyla as the incoming sticky bombs do so much work. 2-2 from behind, the Impasse is missed. But no, Dome Shield from Barrack was enough to protect Dyla there, so still the front line of Blazing Hussars does stay alive. Is able to potentially trade out versus Cassie here as Zexlos shuts down Real Cyanin. Beautiful play from Blazing Hussars coming through once again. Bulls just seem to be lacking in the coordination. 2-2 try to make a good play with Ruckus, but if that wall from Inara, the Impasse, wasn't misplaced there, that would have been a full denial and Dome Shield not even necessary to be used in that situation. A really worrying situation for Bulls to be in, and with Blastq now playing Torvald as well, not a frontline that we expected them to be playing. Not playing the Androxus, which is so devastating in the last matchup. Instead, whilst, yes, they can rely on their aim on more of a less typical damage dealer, leaving Real Cyanin to play the Cassie, my concerns are very, very real in this situation. A couple of big sticks come through from Grafis, looking for damage on the Blastq. Maeve turns out the lights, and now towards the backline goes Cassie. Retreating away from Midnight, the Scout is activated to try and stall some of that out. Damage to Blastq is good. Real Cyanin rolls straight into danger, gets stunned by Grumpy Bomb. Zexlos makes them pay. Blastq goes down. Towards the backline, towards Malcolm is Kamika. Nothing really found there just yet. Kamika must retreat, has 9 lives available just to regenerate some health, and continues to throw out damage towards Kodash Konai now on the Ash pickup before retreating towards the rest of that team.
30 seconds remaining.
A few good kills in favor of Blazing Hussars there, but Bulls with the assert dominance were able to buy enough time on the respawns to trickle back on through, gain a slight advantage. Still though, initially going down is Toot Toot. Bad look for the blue team as they try and defend here. Strike now, says Inara. Down goes Seismic Crash. Malcolm was stunned out. Kamika finds the execution in the back of the map. Grafis cleans up Real Cyanin as well. This is bad for Bulls, as the only player left available to contest currently is Toot Toot. Lasky's trying to make their way in, but they've been zoned out so heavily and out of position they get shut down easily by the Baku. Toot Toot in the air is shoot through by daggers in midair. That emitter shield will not last with Wrecker online from Kamika's Maeve. And it's looking like Game Grover here, as 5 minutes in on the dot, Blazing Hussars find the conversion to push themselves to a 2-0 scoreline currently. So what went wrong in that previous line? And what could potentially Bulls do differently this time around is the big question which I'm asking. Well, they don't have any ultimates besides Hyper Beam, so unless BlazQ can find a fantastic angle through the objective, and also make sure that they don't activate it whilst Earthen Guard is ready for a dialer, or an impasse can come up blocking the Hyper Beam off in its entirety, Bulls have to rely on individual mechanical play and target focusing and positioning. Got to win this one out. And that's what I want to see. They're running triple frontline. Blazing Hussars, sure, they've got some initial itemization online now, but Bulls get to the objective and hold it. That's exactly what BlazQ will do initially, and look at this. Every single shot hitting onto the Baku here lands the silence to finish off the kill, preventing the Snake Toss reload from coming through. Zexlos taken out by Real Sign-In for a double kill, now turning their attention to Dialer. Reset comes through, Tripski for Real Sign-In in the backline here. And Bulls did exactly what they needed to. With Comeback Mechanic on their side, capturing 4% of the objective a tick now, comparatively to the 3% of their opponents. Capture is rapidly going upwards of 66% for Bulls. No sign of Blazing Hussars making their way back in. They will initiate, of course, with Midnight from Maeve. Kamika tries to make their way through. The Pounce will get them to the objective in just enough time. Toot from behind, though, activates Hexafire, provides a lot of zone, and Blazing Hussars, after Toot finds a triple kill, are left with only 3 members on the objective, but a massive kinetic burst from Ashe, followed up by Void Crypt and Silence from Torvald, is enough to end all chance of Blazing Hussars contesting. Bulls find the capture, and now are 1-2 on the objective scoreline. Chance of a comeback is through. Coming back to it. What do Bulls need to do? They haven't got the ultimates on this capture. They've got to go for individual mechanical outplay and target focus. First thing that happens, remove Maldamba from the situation. Recognizing how much of an impact Maldamba makes in these fights, because the sheer amount of healing which Inara can receive was critical to ensuring success there. And now Bulls are able to then dismantle the backline damage and gain the capture. Zexlos, though, does find a triple kill on defense as Barak. That'll put them in a tasty position to be able to defend here with a forward establishment of turrets. Whilst Bulls took the capture objective, they do have to do a bit better than that if they want to find victory here on the payload push and equalize the scoreline 2-2. So let's ask ourselves that question once again. What do Bulls need to do in this circumstance to be able to find a conversion? Well, potentially find a Hyper Beam off the map as BlazQ does take down Kamika. Could be used coming around with BlazQ towards the peripheral of this fight to send maybe Inara off the map, now that Earthen Guard is down. But I don't think, again, it's the ultimates which really come into play here. For me, personally, just from baseline observation, Bulls, it's got to be the consistent play once again. It's got to be the target focus. Real Sign-In eliminating Rafis can be a good look for that. Massive damage from 2-2 with the rockets, comes down onto Inara. Seismic Crash did connect there and was fully channeled. The ultimate found no follow-up, so a good look for Bulls as they start to regenerate back to full health and continue on this payload push. Dodo stoned out by a Maldamba stun from the distance, needs to be careful here. Toot holding the peripheral of this fight, throws out the rockets again, but is losing a Emitter shield rapidly. Does retreat round cover momentarily just to heal up. Oh, nice lob shot from the Baku, though, ends their life. And beautiful kinetic burst in response, though, allows Dialer to sink like a stone, rather appropriately. 30 seconds left on this clock. Bulls, well, they still have a chance, but it's looking slimmer and slimmer as time goes by. Blazing Hussars now are sitting in a realm of real respawn proximity advantage at this stage of the game. And if the kills that come through from Bulls are staggered and are trickled, it will be a bad look for them. Hyper Beam could be used to push enemies away. Hexafire was just challenged by Toot, but again, Dome Shield response from Zexlos is enough to really stall out of that. Is BlazQ returning to the fight. We mentioned the Hyper Beam earlier, but again, having lost too many enemies, or lost too many allies all in one go, no sign of that succeeding. Blazing Hussars are content just to retain 3 out of 5 of their ultimates here. Hold that in the tank. And now lead a 3-1 scoreline so far. So, let's look at itemization once again. Bulls, last time around, were able to clutch things back with a capture, themselves in the game and a set potentially through good target prioritization and focus. Take out Maldamba initially, send Torvald straight to the backline. There was a flank coming out of Blazing Hussars, nobody noticed it. This time around, Blazing Hussars will be more aware of that. So we look towards the itemization to see if the 5 cauterized level 3s, or the 4 cauterized level 3s, the 5 cauterized pickups from Bulls, will be enough here to turn the tide. Certainly seems to be the case for the time being. Other flex itemization coming out as well. I do like that Malcolm has been able to go into a Haven 2 for Genos. them more safe versus the incoming damage from Maeve. But Midnight is ready. 2-2 is looking potentially for a flank grab to the backline of the enemy team. Has Hyper Beam ready? Is it going to be used here potentially to deal with Dyla? No, I don't think so. Blasky holds that in the tank still. Kamika, though, finds Kodash Konai off the back of Midnight. Makes very, very short work of Torval's personal shields, but must relocate to the backline of this fight as they were being poked out significantly. 2-2 takes over. Kamika back towards the mid line here, and it's on the objective Dyla. Looking to stack up some capture for their team. 42% climbing 2-2. Will be able to turn the tide here? I don't think so. Coming in, somebody has to contest from Bulls right now. And Blasky is that player. Ash asserts dominance though and allows a bit more free reign to Blasky. He's looking for a flank currently. Needs to be careful of Bomb King though, and Grafis ends their life. Bumpy Bomb will also provide a lot of stun and zone potential here if it does come through successfully. Will sign in, answers back through time and space. Channeled by Janos. Malcolm finding nothing with that. Could have maybe saved that in the tank as well to deal with a potential dome shield. As Dyla channels in their seismic crash towards the objective. In the backline, Kodash Konai takes down the Baku. Really good work from Bulls here so far. Able to hold on and stall out throughout all of this fight. Beautiful silence comes through, allows Kodash to take out Zexalos as well. And that's got to sting a little bit. Hyper Beam off the map, not quite what we're looking for there. Will it have bought enough time, however? Bulls actually trying to contest here. Toot Toot has returned to the fight. Ruckus will be dancing in and out of the capture objective as it is 96% and rising for Bulls. Is there anybody who can get in and contest overtime just at the last second? Recognizing the Grumpy Bomb is down, Toot Toot goes in, Hexafire is ready, but it's too little too late. But Kodash Konai is here now, faces a dome shield initially and should be an easy shutdown. Dread Serpent is used onto the CC immune target. That should, at this point, be enough. Dyla holds the key to victory in the palm of their hands with the impasse wall that locks off all enemies, and Blazing Hussars find a 4-1 victory on map number 2. You're saying tactical suicide of Ash. Kodash Konai there was absolutely looking to be able to carry on up on the map, not off the map in that situation. Went the wrong side of the banister, the wrong side of the stair rail. Took a trip into the ocean. Which was unfortunate because for the time being, the Bulls were actually holding the stagger to their advantage right there. But again, this triple frontline comp didn't work out for them. Let's look at the stats to examine why that might have been. First of all, lack of area damage. Nobody could deal with Zexalos. Barak went 16, 4, and 20 with the highest damage in game at 91,000. That can't happen. If you're drafting a triple frontline composition, then maybe the Drogos, which we saw in game 1, would have been more appropriate, but having already banned that out, then having Bomb King taken as the primary pickup, the first pick, or rather I should say the second pick in the draft overall for Blazing Hussars, left them high and dry. In that kind of situation, being completely honest, rather than Real Sign-In's Cassie, I think I would have liked to see a Shaolin come out to play. Just the sheer shreddability of Planted might have done more work versus the Barak, more work versus the Inara than we saw coming out of Cassie in that situation. Now 74,000 damage is certainly nothing to sniff at there, but I've got the feeling that it could have been more. And Real Sign-In, if they had the ability to maybe drop the shields faster from Zexalos or eliminate Kamika on Maeve by stunning them into a wall, might have been a bit of a different game. That doesn't really do any disjustice, however, to Blazing Hussars, who played it phenomenally throughout the duration of that game. And speaking of Kamika, look at Kamika's slash line here. It is, of course, massive for Maeve at 10, 5, and 12. The Artful Dodger Legendary used wonderfully throughout the duration of that game to cleanse crowd control where necessary, and also keep themselves alive with an additional burst heal. 5 deaths on a hypermobile flank champion isn't too unusual versus a team of the caliber that we saw last game on Serpent Beach in the form of Bulls. I'm a little more shocked by that. And all in all, a lot of this game seemed to be anchored to me by Dyla for Blazing Hussars. Now, Dyla is a player that we're used to seeing on Damaged Champions. I mean, goodness heavens, they went to the DreamHack Valencia LAN with the team at the time, Gangstars, who are now playing under NIP with a couple of roster changes there, and subbed in, primarily on Cassie, throughout the duration of that tournament. Having taken up Inara with Mother's Grace, they look perfectly at home in this situation. And I can't wait to see how their performance continues. With that in mind, champions, let's go back to our bracket to take a look at both sets of semifinals and once again review who our finalists for today are going to be. On your screen right now, Team Cryptic 2-1 versus Gangstars, Blazing Hussars 2-0 versus Bulls. That does leave our final matchup for today. Best of 3 final set to see who will take home the big piece of cash prize pool money at the end of today's tournament, being Team Cryptic versus Blazing Hussars. Once again, everybody, We'll be getting to a short break once we get things set up for the next set, so please do stay tuned. In the meantime, once again, if you missed it, got a recap video from none other than Hi-Res Pretty Hair here from some of the events of the Paladins Premier League, the region of North America that went on last week. If you haven't been watching, you can make sure that you check it out at 3 p.m. EDT every day, on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays on facebook.com/paladinsgame/live. By that, you'll see the highest level of competition within the realm. 10 Juggernauts teams from Europe and North America competing.
Welcome back, guys, for another PPL regional recap. This one's going to be for North America in week 2. Now, after Europe, North America had a big shoe to fill. There was a lot of good matchups, though, that definitely lived up to the standard. NA would start on Frog Isle, pitting Splice against the new hotness, the Detroit Renegades. Outdrafted is the one-word summary here. Splice got handled by Lokion Victor, a niche character that succeeds only in very specific situations, and Shady Shades Drogos. And don't get me wrong, Shades is a monster, but Drogos isn't exactly something he's really known for, but he got it done. Game 2 spliced through a curveball that the Renegades frankly should have been prepared for since they, invented it. Strix on Fish Market. Envy had a great game and Splice would force a Game 3. But then Shady Shades got Cassie, something he is known for, and the Renegades find the win, another thing that they are quickly becoming known for. Splice would have their last shot at finding a win against SK Gaming, the only other winless team still in North America at this point. Prince Danny would be a big talking point today due to his lackluster performance last weekend, but Splice made the mistake of letting ya boy, Prince Danny, get the Godslayer in Game 1. He went off and never came back. He even played great on Eevee in Game 2, something he hasn't done in a long time. With their Prince playing more like a king, SK grabbed their first win, 2-0. Next up, it was time for the salty runback between G2 Esports and the Detroit Renegades. G2 wanting to prove that their loss was a fluke, and the Renegades out to prove the opposite, and that they were indeed the best team in North America. Game 1, the Renegades took a chance with James Tiberius Strix on Frog Isle, but it didn't quite pan out, and G2 were able to take Game 1. But Game 2 on Splitstone Quarry looked like it was also going to go G2's way as well, but a comeback that was nothing short of miraculous resulted in the Renegades pushing this set to 3 games. Jaguar Falls would settle the score. The Renegades came out hot, capping and converting, then getting a defensive stop the next round to put themselves up 3-1. One final all-around solid fight from the Renegades. They secured their spot as the top squad in NA with a 3-0 record. The final set of the weekend would pit SK Gaming against Team Envious and would decide who would get a 2-1 record, tying with G2 Esports for second place. Again, in this set, Danny was playing well, which just sets off this chain reaction in SK Gaming that makes them pretty scary. When all 5 of those guys, extremely talented players, are playing well, they are so hard to beat, can attack you from any different angle.
The standings in North America after week 2 are as follows. G2 Esports with 2 wins, 1 loss. SK Gaming also with 2 wins, 1 loss. Renegades going undefeated with 3 wins and 0 losses. Splice sitting at 0 wins, 4 losses, and Envious rounding out North America at 1 win and 2 losses.
As long as they all continue to play well, I frankly have a lot of hope for SK going forward, as they are now tied for second with G2 Esports, their long-standing rival. So this is going to be a great story that we get to watch out, actually play out in week number 3. But that's going to do it for week 2, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Hi-Res Pretty Hair, and I'll see you next time.
What a way to go. This incarnation is really wide. The air is getting warm. I know you're the worrying kind. And is there any way? Or do you like not being found? Entangled with fate. Don't you know I worry about you all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time.
Welcome back then, champions, to the finals of this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, the cup number 26 between Team Cryptic and Blazing Hussars. Now, of course, we have just seen the bracket breakdown as follows. On your screen right now, it is Team Cryptic with a 2-1 versus Gangstars. Bulls defeated 2-0, or 0-2 I should say, by Blazing Hussars. These two juggernaut teams have landed in the finals here today. Without further ado, we do actually have our map draft just about ready for you folks to see exactly where the fights will be breaking out as we get ready and set up to take you into game. Now, so far it's been a bit of an all-out fight, an all-out brawl in every single game. Blazing Hussars have looked stronger in their set. Team Cryptic have also looked good, but they've really fought hard versus Gangstars here, and it's going to be exciting to see how they stack up against each other. With that in mind, our map bans are as follows. Splitstone Quarry taken off the table, as well as Frog Isle, so we won't be seeing some of that typical snowbally map, which is maybe more common within the realm here. You can see that our first map then will of course be Jaguar Falls, so we're going back to basics. We're going back to the comfortable maps all of these teams enjoy. Frog Isle, maybe more sitting as more of one of those, but again, taken away by Blazing Hussars. Don't want to give Team Cryptic the opportunity to snowball there. As a result, I'm excited to see how this Jaguar Falls based composition will break down for our champion draft, appearing on your screens in just a second. Expect to see definitely a lot of Barrack from how we saw Team Cryptic use that in the first set. I would expect it to be a priority, but I'm interested to see what the champion bans will be between these two teams. Saw some respect bans come in the Blazing Hussars set, taking away the Drogos, for example, in the second game. A Team Cryptic scared of one of the players on their team enough to warrant a specific and targeted champion ban, I wonder. Or will it be more generic and general, just dealing with the overall threats, which nobody wants to see? Well, we will have to find out. There's no better way to do it than see it all in person. On your screen then, champion, it is the draft for the first game of our final set here on Jaguar Falls. Blazing Hussars have first ban. They take away May from Team Cryptic. Team Cryptic, well, they just take away the Makoa. Nobody wants to see Makoa. Nobody thinks there's a more valuable ban than that so far. Has been taken away in every single set, if I'm not mistaken. Blazing Hussars do pick up the Barrack first, making sure that that doesn't get into the hands of actually Menschmeyer, who was on Gangstar's team in the very first set. But Team Cryptic were able to use their own Barrack very, very well in future games. Second picks come through. Torvald Bomb King, strong area denial, as well as a Torvald Field City Legendary will make this a formidable combination if Chain Reaction is picked up. Blazing Hussars draft Janos and Ash to follow. And I like the frontline composition, which so far Blazing Hussars have established. They've got aggressive and defensive frontline here, and a support which works in pretty much every situation. They're not relying on Maldamba with Inara like they were in the previous setup, although we'll see if maybe triple frontline is drafted here. I find it unlikely, but oh no, Inara is actually locked in. Cryptic, of course, took Cassie and Fernando, but Inara and Drogos are now being taken. Triple frontline combo for Blazing Hussars. Will the Drogos work out better than the Cassie did for Bulls in the last game? That's my big question. Once again, champions, you know the deal by now. Let's quickly break down the compositions for the side of Blazing Hussars. It's Barrack, Janos, Ash, Inara, and Drogos. And for Team Cryptic, Torvald, Bomb King, Cassie, Fernando, and Maldamba. Let me know your predictions in chat. Will triple frontline prevail? This time with Inara, not three shield-reliant champions. Will Team Cryptic take the win here? Set themselves off to an early lead in game number 1. 2 minutes on the clock. Let's get ready to head into game, where we will find out.
Don't
Welcome back then, champions, to the first game in this final set now of the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 26. My name is Vox. We're watching Blazing Hussars face off against Team Cryptic here on Jaguar Falls. Whilst we've taken you through the compositions, let's check out the legendaries. Starting off with, on the left-hand side of your screen, Blazing Hussars. They've got the Baku on Celestial Touch, Genos, Zexlos on Tinker and Barrack, Kamika, with Battering Ram Ash, Dyla on Mother's Grace Inara, and Grafis on Wormjets Drogos. Of course, on the other side of things, Goldex has Spirits Chosen, Maldamba, Michaela on Exaction Cassie, Nina Kuki, the Scorch Fernando, Music's on Direct Current Torval, not Field Study actually, and Chain Reaction Bomb King for Sizzy. And it is interesting to see this Direct Current Torval come through. With Cauterize here so far, Nullify deals 500 more damage. Will that really be enough versus maybe the 40% increased bonus damage when you're considering that there is a Chain Reaction Bomb King in your team? Who knows? Team Cryptic, well, they're the ones who hold all the answers right there, but so far it's straight to the backline as Ninu Kuki looks for some shutdown to Zexlos, finds out big fireball. Being damaged by Void Grip, has to be very careful of the incoming damage from Grafis. They do go down for first blood as Drogo is able to pick up that kill. Up into the air they go. Dragon, the Drake taking to the skies, has the opportunity to throw out a fire spit in 1 second towards Goldex in the backline, takes 600 damage and does end up flying away. Now it is Wormjets that Grafis is using here rather than the combustible legendary. Whilst they do have increased mobility as a result, they're not dealing the same amount of backline damage and disruption that would otherwise be coming through from that legendary choice. Still though, Blazing Hussars set up a strong forward defense. Ash is able to get out of danger with Battering Ram for the time being. The Baku retreats off the objective and hoists Fernando into the air as Dala returns to the fight and actually locks away all opponents with a really good impasse there. Overtime is ticking. Blazing Hussars at 1 minute and 54 seconds in have already got 99% on the objective, and even though they dip off of that for just a second to chase down Cassie, it's not going to be enough for Team Cryptic to be able to come back into this. Overtime ticks down. Ninu Kuki falls. Goldex flees for their life. I don't think Bomb King is going to be putting up a formidable response here. No, that's capture in favor of Blazing Hussars to kick this fight off. This is how triple frontline is meant to be played, champions. This is how it's meant to go down. But will it continue, is the big question of the day. Triple frontline so far hasn't worked in any of the sets it's really been used in initially when it was supposed to, until now. And it raises the very interesting question of, do Team Cryptic have it in them to be able to itemize efficiently versus this team comp? With a very survivable Inara on the side of Blazing Hussars, rather than just being able to go into maybe 2 Wreckers and 3 Cauterize, or 2 Wreckers, 2 Cauterize, and shut it down entirely late game, Team Cryptic have to make the decision of, is Wrecker even worthwhile for us at this stage of the game? Can we afford it on 2 players, or do we simply just use Cauterize 3 max as soon as possible for all of our players to be able to deal with Inara's healing? But it just doesn't seem to matter as Seismic Crash sets up a massive stun on the backline. Music's and Goldex find 2 kills in response though, so Team Cryptic actually holding their ground right here so far. The respawn has come back through from Michaela's Cassie. Will charge immediately to the backline if they have the opportunity. Misses the dodge roll reset shot onto Zexlos, finds a lot of repeated damage towards him though, but gets poked out very heavily in response. Michaela in so much trouble now, being protected by Fernando. A good look so far as it's Ryan holds their ground, Ninu Kuki holds their ground, but still retreating away from there. They will be for the time being. Michaela has to relocate the face of Kamika's Ash. Blazing Hussars initiate with Dragon Punch. Grafis activates that, but no. A beautiful Immortal from Ninu Kuki does come through, preventing that kill from being established. Lada will be able to contest momentarily. But so far, Team Cryptic are definitely holding a very good and very strong defense. The issue right now, though, is that they don't have the appropriate levels of anti-heal to be able to counter out all the healing coming through onto Dyla right now. The Fireball from Ninu Kuki doesn't have Brand, only has Brand 2 in their loadout, so no Brand 4 for the massive anti-heal shutdown of 80%. And Dyla just sustains through all the incoming damage. Grafis has returned to the fight as well. Drogo's looking to make things happen with Fire Spit here. Ninu Kuki, one more shot will do it. Manages to charge away to safety momentarily. Fireball actually end Grafis' life though. And Ninu Kuki stays alive. Massive outplay for the side of Team Cryptic, who are still holding themselves in on this defense. Double kill for Music's. 15 seconds remain on the payload push, and Blazing Hussars are all back from base. But will they be able to close the gap in enough time? It's up to Shoulder Bash from Ash to be able to do so if they elect to. I think that Dyla here is potentially looking for a misplay, but Ninu Kuki will retreat, prevent Dyla from really being able to close that gap in. Kamika channels Shoulder Bash, but it's mitigated perfectly by Ninu Kuki on Fernando, body blocking that. That'll allow the stall to not come through. Overtime does not tick. Capture point spawns in 33 seconds as it's tied up 1-1 on the objective. After a successful capture, let's take a look at some of our stat charts here, folks. And first and foremost, We'll actually take a look at the itemizations here, I guess, instead. Blazing Hussars are really holding things through for that team, you know. They are coming in strong. They've got their tier 2 offensive itemization online. And they're able to do so because they've got the higher end of the net worth chart that's available to them. Importantly, though, everybody on Team Cryptic is above the 900 credit threshold, which means that they have been able to get a successful tier 2 offensive itemization item online. So we're seeing that part specifically matched out quite effectively. Music does go straight to the objective, though, and so far nobody's looked to contest. 18% already for Team Cryptic. Nullify is available around the outside of this fight. Grafis is looking to try and make things happen versus Cassie right now. Worm Jets with Nimble 1 keeps them mobile, but Michaela gets the dodge roll resets, and Ninu Kuki comes around from behind, providing a bit of surprise attack towards the enemy team. And oh my goodness, if Michaela can reset dodge roll once again, no, Sizzy steals it away, but it would have been an easy kill regardless. Zexalos surely down, double kill for Sizzy. No sign of this payload capture, or this point capture slowing down. As nobody from Blazing Hussars has been able to close the gap. 93% climbs to 96 to 99. Dread Serpent thrown out the last second. Dyla does immune that with their Mother's Grace. Legendary in Earthen Guard. But they aren't able to touch the objective in time. And capture comes through this time around for Team Cryptic. Beautiful plays there throughout. Blazing Hussars just seem to overextend. They put their Drogas into a vulnerable position. We saw that Grafis has to be really a keystone of this triple frontline lineup and deal so much damage they want it to be successful. Grafis perishing early was not the answer and the solution to that. Sizzy boxing out versus Dyla in a small and compact room is certainly not where you want to be versus Bomb King. Straight to the backline versus Barrack. They go. Zexalos takes a tumble off the map. A deliberate reset there just to ensure that the respawns aren't staggered, and Team Cryptic have bought themselves some free payload push time. 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. I like Sizzy's positioning here. High ground advantage is always useful for Bomb King to be able to position Grumpy Bomb into a more effective situation. Zexalos actually gets stunned out by that one. Sticky Bomb connects, and that'll force Barrack out of the issue for the time being. Does return. Kamika on Ash. Looks to make a play, looks to make a move into this fight, but oh, potentially Dyla here is moving into a very unfavorable position. Gets shut down by Musics. Nullified by Torvald once Earthen Guard was out. Really good use of cooldown balancing from Musics so far to be able to ensure that they are being consistent throughout the duration of that. And unstoppable goes Musics as they shut Kamika down in midair. Grafis, can they make it back to base? One more shot before they get shut down entirely, but it's only Dyla at the last second on the respawn who is able to stall out for their team and maybe might buy enough time for the respawn. Oh no. Dyla fell to Michaela. Earthen Guard and Mother's Grace not enough to contest versus all the incoming damage from 5 members of Team Cryptic. Blazing Hussars let their Inara perish. And so far, that's a 3-1 scoreline in favor of Team Cryptic. So Musics, Torvald, 13 streak currently, doing serious work with their team. Has cauterized 3 established already. Going into some flavor items next. Wouldn't be surprised if we maybe saw them itemizing more towards a Chronos for the cooldown reduction in this situation. More protection, more nullify, more shield recharges. Always something which you want to look towards. Although Master Riding being taken up plays more towards an aggressive angle for Team Cryptic here. Excited to see how that'll go down. Blazing Hussars starting to get some resilience online. They're starting to provide themselves with some protection versus the stuns coming out from Goldex and Sizzy on Maldama and Bomb King likewise. But it seems to be too little too late in this situation. Either being almost channeled, 1% more. Music is about to have that one-off cooldown. And look at the positioning, potentially going towards Darkroom. No, backs away from that actually as round comes Grafis with Dragon Punch. Grafis can't find the damage. The beautiful Immortal dissuades them entirely. Does end up taking down Musics anyway, and finds a double kill, gets a triple kill with the aerial assault rockets coming through. Will it be a quadra kill for Grafis? No, it won't as Dyla steals it away. The Drogos this time around being the answer. The problem that Team Cryptic have presented towards Blazing Hussars here. Staying alive and impactful in the fight with comeback mechanic on their side. Blazing Hussars capture extremely quickly and have the opportunity to equalize 3-3 here if they find a successful payload conversion. That was definitely the play that we need to see from Grafis. You know, early on, during that point fight, it's like, okay, maybe we'll see some repositioning, you know, coming through from Torvald into Darkroom to throw everybody off the map with Hyper Beam if they step towards the Sunroom on Jaguar Falls. But no, it was Grafis that took everybody by surprise. Saving themselves, not connecting whilst Immortal was active was the wise move. Healed up very, very rapidly with the Maldama Mending Spirits coming through. Grafis certainly being the impact player for that team and currently sitting second on the damage charts. Only actually led by Michaela, the side of Team Cryptic here, who has, fortunately, for them at least, just perished. Blazing Hussars pick up 2 kills in a row with Dyla finding a double there. Halo continues towards conversion. Grafis already has Dragon Punch ready again. Through time and space. Through space and time, one of the two is sitting charged as well for Blazing Azar's Genos. Could be activated in this kind of situation to really provide zoning around the objective, but I'd say keep your eyes more towards Dyla here in this situation. Impasse is going to be vital to allowing this payload to convert through with no contest, and the zone is real. Dyla will sidestep Grumpy Bomb momentarily. No Earthen Guard comes up in just enough time to immune the stun, and nobody contests. The impasse was perfect, but there was still nobody even moving towards the payload when they needed to. Blazing Azars get a free conversion. Misplays from Team Cryptic all around. They were trapped in their base, yes, finding it difficult to move away from it, but at the same time, you expect more objective presence from a team that's been able to 3-1 their opponents in a very short amount of time. That's what I call a comeback, folks. Blazing Azars now all tied up. Let's take a look at the itemization and see what they've been able to stabilize with here. Again, stressing the point of this. Late game itemization is what dismantles triple frontline comps. The Wrecker comes online, the Cauterize comes online, your DPS starts to excel. Team Cryptic do have triple Cauterize, triple Cauterize 3 for their lineup here, but will it be enough? Only Sizzy on Bomb King has Wrecker. Are facing Inara, could be all they need. Bomb King going to be dealing 95 damage if I'm not mistaken now with each sticky bomb from the shields. Says step into light and perish. Impasse from Inara provides some momentary zone. As he bypasses the Waters field, just throws bombs straight towards the backline of this situation. Dreads him from well down, but won't find much. But Michaela picks up one kill, now looks at the back with a dodge roll, resets to be able to find a second. Misses 2 in a row, right up close and personal, but fortunately, it's a Cassie versus Genos, and it's still an easy trade. One more shot from Ash could spell their doom, but no, Kamika retreats out of the issue for the time being, and Michaela has dodge roll available again. Looks to roll in towards her opponents. Scout is up and ready. 36% to 36%. Currently has been matched out on the objective capture for the time being. And Michaela retreats as the damage starts to come through. Blazing Azars have the opportunity to move back into position. Now Grafis is charging up their ultimate very, very rapidly, but it's 75% and rising on the objective of Team Cryptic. Inara tries to set things up with a big stun out of Seismic Crash, and Salvo obliterates Sizzy for the time being, but somebody's got to touch the payload, and Grafis is the one who has to take the fall here. Ninu Kuki gets obliterated by a rocket. Yuzix activates their Hyper Beam, but will it be enough? Michaela comes to the rescue. Dodge Roll finds the double kill, and Cassie helps secure things for their team as only Dyla remains. Cannot contest in time, and overtime ticks down for Team Cryptic, finding the 4-3 victory in game number 1. GG, well played Team Cryptic there, right towards the end. Beautiful plays started to come back through from Grafis towards the end. We saw fantastic kills. Kuki being taken out was a keystone towards the last part of the fight, but again, Michaela's Cassie, 73,000 damage, top of the realm, top of the charts right now for this game. Only 2,900 credits comparatively to the rest of the team does strike me as a little low with less kill shots, but doing the legwork where it mattered. And that was crucial in this situation. Big shout out as well to Musix for their tool role play throughout the duration of this game, running the Nullify Legendary rather than Field Study, which has become our sort of gold standard throughout competitive play, was certainly interesting to see. Definitely had the prowess of that demonstrated as they were able to obliterate Ash with the Nullify Direct Current there as well. Excuse me, the Nullify, what's failed me? Woogly Noodle, we'll say. The silence, with Ash in the air. During their ultimate, which was crucial for Team Cryptic to be able to find a conversion early on. Now, as well, looking at the rest of Team Cryptic's lineup here, Goldex was able to pull out a very large amount of healing, comparatively less than the Celestial Touch Genos, but please do remember that, of course, it's a Celestial Touch Genos playing on the team with Inara, he's running Mother's Grace, and triple frontline overall, so we expect that healing to be exacerbated as a result. Overall, Team Cryptic, it did come down to the wire, but they were able to pull out a successful victory in Game 1. We'll see just how that continues in game number 2, which will be coming up on your screens shortly. As to why we saw Blazing Azars unable to take it right there at the end, it just seemed to be circumstantial stagger rather than anything else. Maybe if Grafis had been able to charge their ultimate faster and engage quicker, or had stayed alive and avoided the Fernando firebomb, which ended their life right at the end of the previous fight, things would have been different, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. Regardless, folks, map draft is now available and on your screens. Team Cryptic take the 4-3 victory in map number 1. Map number 2 sets up to be Bright Marsh here. And this will make things interesting, certainly. We've gone from Jaguar Falls, which is a very compact map, and a compact capture objective, to Brightmarsh, which demonstrates a certain similarity here in this respect. It's still a compact objective area. So expect champions like Barak, expect, especially with how Blazing Hussars have been playing so far, to see an Inara. However, what is slightly different is the amount of verticality which Brightmarsh does bring to the table, more so certainly in Jaguar Falls, not as much as Serpent Beach, having only 2 split levels around the objective capture area. Certainly somewhere we could see a Maeve or even an Androxus come out. But that's enough speculation around the champion draft so far, folks. It's ready, we may as well head straight through us, so join us then for Brightmarsh Game number 2's champion draft between Team Cryptic and Blazing Hussars. Here you see initially the bans coming through. Ruckus taken off the table very, very quickly. Strikes me as surprising here. Makoa, very much less so. Team Cryptic, though, they respect that Blazing Hussars can play Ruckus well. They just don't want to see it on this map. They don't want to fight into the potential that brings. Instead, we'll draft a Barak. First up, Blazing Hussars respond with Bomb King and Torval. We see a salty run. This is the opposite salty run back, if I'm not mistaken. It was Blazing Hussars who were first picked last time, so now they're taking Team Cryptic's strategy and running it back against them. Or is it vice versa? Team Cryptic draft Maldamba in line here as well, so spreading away from that salty run back right now, but get the Maeve online, and that was the pick that I was looking for here. Maeve is so effective on Brightmarsh due to all the different routes which she can take with the movement speed provided by Prowl, and also Pounce to relocate. Seeing her come out in 3rd in the draft is very surprising. Garrison Ash then picked up by Blazing Hussars, leaving the last pick in the tank here. Counter pick potential could be there, could be a Cassie, relatively neutral at the end of it. Area damage is already in line for Blazing Hussars, so expect direct coming through towards the end. Surprisingly, Cryptic drafting the Inara here. And Drogo's comes through as well, so the one-shot ultimate in tandem. This leaves some very nice counter potential to come through for Blazing Hussars, and there it is, Androxus brought out as the last pick for Blazing Hussars. Leaving the lineups for Cryptic being Barak, Maldamba, Maeve, Inara, and Drogo's. The lineup, of course, for Blazing Hussars: Bomb King, Torvald, Genos, Ash, and the all-important anti-air Androxus. With that in mind, I've got to give this one to Blazing Hussars, folks. We don't know how it will go down just yet, but Blazing Hussars, with their Androxus play, I'm expecting scary stuff. Expect to see Field Study. I'm expecting to see Darkstalker as well, but whether that'll be the case, we'll have to find out in game. 2 minutes back on the clock. Let me know your predictions in chat. I'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to map number 2 then of Brightmarsh in this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup finals here between Team Cryptic, currently up 1 game, and Blazing Hussars. Once again, Vox back on the mic. Let's go ahead and check out our team legendaries, as we of course have on the left-hand side of your screen, Team Cryptic. It'll be Goldex on Spirit's Chosen Maldamba, Michaela with Artful Dodger Maeve, Nunu Kuki on Wormjet's Drogos, Musics on Mother's Grace Inara, and Sizzy on Tinkering Barrack. Facing them off again, this time Blazing Hussars are led by the back on Celestial Touch, Janos Kamika on Field Study, Torvald, Zexlos with Battering Ram, Ash, Feast on Chain Reaction, Bomb King for the bonus damage, and it is Darkstalker and Droxus for Dyla. We talked a little bit earlier about Dyla having a legendary reputation for maybe some Cassie after seeing their performance at LAN, but they have certainly one for Androxus as well as they quickly obliterate Musics with no sign of delay. The backline does go Michaela, but retreats rapidly towards their team as Dyla sets up in position to be able to maybe nether step skywards and very quickly deal with the pesky Maeve. Up goes the reversal. Oh, Michaela gets the shutdown and does get some healing coming through from Maldamba as well. Graffi's in a lot of trouble. Is bubbled by Torvald. Protection keeps him alive momentarily, but Sizzy moves in looking for the kill here. Big fire spit thrown all the way through by Team Cryptic's Nunu Kuki as well, and salvage the backline. Will it be enough? It will. Graffis goes down. Great play on the retake from Blazing Hussars so far, and Kamika perishes to Music. The early advantage, which was drafted and taken by Blazing Hussars, has completely been dismantled here. Team Cryptic have wrestled it back away from them. Blazing Hussars are now being forced back. Team Cryptic are poised to take this first capture objective. 99% rolls over. No sign of that being contested. Under 2 minutes as well. Very impressive play. Now activating their Earthen Guard. Music is able to help with Michaela shut down Zexlos as payload push could be continuing. Oh, Dyla gets obliterated by Nunu Kuki once again, and then decides to turn up the heat, activating Midnight to pressure on for this team. Payload moving past 1/3 of its position so far, rapidly traversing towards half. Easy kill in the distance from Michaela to shut down Bomb King once again. And this is looking bad for Blazing Hussars. They aren't able to establish any kind of forward defense. Sizzy is now established as Barrack. Dyla gets one return kill into Nunu Kuki. Will that be the point that we were waiting for? Gets a second onto Musics. Now he might have the opportunity for a turnaround in this situation. Making sure they're not putting themselves into a vulnerable position, allowing Bomb King to clean out the turrets first. Dyla moves forwards as Zexlos retreats. And there is a brief lull in the action. Enough for us to at least check out the player damage so far. Here's where it all comes down to, folks. It's Team Cryptic dominating right now. Players from the side of Blazing Hussars have to start really turning the heat up, and that's exactly what they'll do. Dyla takes down Michaela, but no, the kills come back in trade, equal so far. Team Cryptic are forced to activate Dome Shield on the objective to try and hold on to this fight. Dread Serpent as well is thrown out by Maldamba, and that's just not what you want to see. Goldex using that preemptively to try and turn a fight around, but it just didn't happen. Team Cryptic backing away from the objective now, are able to heal back up. Blazing Hussars are slowly being forced back and whittled down. Zexlos is receiving a lot of healing, but poked out in the process. Needs to be careful. The Cauterize application coming through from mid-round buys. Already stacking up to Cauterize level 2. Battering Ram is ready, charging out of the situation. Torvald will keep him safe for the time being. And now we turn our eyes to Graffis to really make the difference in this field Study bonus damage does come through on the back of some of the sticky bombs. Has the opportunity to thread the needle towards Maeve through the window here. Poppy bomb to safety is good for the time being. A lot of damage towards Music is thrown out as Seismic Crash is activated, stunning out Dallas Androxus. In comes Maeve with Midnight, but countered out with King Bomb. Graffis rolls through, trying to make something happen here, but it's just not happening as Michaela finds a double kill, looks for it, can't pick up the triple, but Goldex secures it anyway, and now we see the real opportunity here for Team Cryptic to go for conversion. There's massive healing coming through onto Michaela, and they stay alive against all odds. Pounce takes them out of the way, doesn't connect on the Kamika right now, and even with Cauterize too, oh my goodness, is barely able to get the slay onto Torvald. The respawn proxy advantage does come through successfully for Blazing Hussars. They are able to defend, and with on the back of Dyla's defensive play, maybe able to secure something here, but no. Music's lands, shuts them down, returns to the fight. Bomb King in so much trouble. Kept alive by protection momentarily. It is Music's holding the ground, 1 versus 3 currently. The sticky bomb from Graffis is enough to end their life. Maeve nullified out. I don't think you're going anywhere. And Goldex far too far away to make a difference. Blazing Hussars defends successfully on the back of massively staggered respawns. Randomization between these two teams after the first round should be relatively even. Looking at the net worth charts, advantage to Team Cryptic, but largely has been stabilized, at least tier 2 offensive itemization. Now, one pickup which is interesting here, Kamika going into Chronos early to make sure that they have more field study bubbles available. Doesn't quite have the, doesn't quite have their Cauterize level 2 online yet, or a Chronos level 2. So sitting behind the item curve, which is not where you want to be ideally right now, but is sitting on a Hyper Beam ultimate, which can be used to turn a tide. It's important to remember that Team Cryptic did end up using a lot of their ultimates during the last payload push, just to try and get it close to conversion, without even having a real chance of getting it all the way through. So initial advantage to Blazing Azars. Retirement space is ready, could be channeled in this situation. Kamika sets up towards the peripheral of this map, maybe looks for an opportunity to throw players off if they step in the wrong position. Retirement space is channeled, and the back who gets Michaela with it. Maeve makes the fatal misstep, perishes as a result. Now Blazing Azars have the capture advantage, rising upwards of 30%. But we saw this last time. Early kills go the way of the red team, and Team Cryptic just comes back twice as strong and wrestles it out of their grasp. No capture advantage as well, due to the fact there is no comeback mechanic. It could be a dangerous situation for Blazing Azars if they allow the enemy team to get close. And Midnight in combination with Dragon Punch comes through looking for damage. Kamika becomes an easy slay. Dread Serpent dismantles the backline. Big Fire Spit Salvo picks up a double kill for Nino Kuki, looking for the triple, but Dialer finds it with a massive reversal in response on the objective. 87% in favor of Blazing Azars. Michaela's Maeve looks for Dialer and manages to find them with the daggers over the arc, out of sight of Androx's direct hit scan damage. And Team Cryptic, the second time in a row, have done it once again. Come back into this fight. They've been able to establish a forward defense now with some zoning power coming through from Inara. Kamika very likely to fall here in just a second, looking for the angle as Maeve, but no, King Bomb might be able to turn this around. It does indeed. Grafis picks up a double kill so far, looks for a triple on the music, isn't utilizing chain reaction too well at this moment. It has to be very careful. The incoming damage from Maeve. Third one in a row, fourth one in a row. Grafis finds 4 out of 5 kills in this fight, and Blazing Azars clean up the last with Michaela to be able to pull out a capture on this objective against all odds. How did Bomb King survive that? Somebody please tell me. I bet Team Cryptic are kicking themselves they didn't focus their targets properly in that fight. Grafis doing serious work for their team. Now third on the damage charts, now second, proving why they are an asset to the roster of Blazing Azars. A lot of damage being thrown out, however. Team Cryptic activating Dome Shield in a very defensive position here, trying to lock off just the angle of entry towards that backline. Doesn't enable Sizzy to trade out with Dialer, so 1 kill off the back of the ultimate, not necessarily the end of the world. Shortly to be 2 as well, as the Baku can't survive versus the incoming pressure of Drogas and Barak. Team Cryptic now have the opportunity to, as we've discussed many times, establish a forward defense. This is going to be very important to their success here. The reason why? Blazing Azars have a lot of bot potential in their squad. They have Bomb King, who's almost sitting on King Bomb again, and Droxus, with a Cursed Arm, could very easily open up a fight, and actually it'll be that without even the necessity of the ultimate, as Dialer finds 1 quick kill and looks for blood in the backline for more. All charges of Step are down. Music sets up with Seismic Crash, looking to stun out Bomb King around the corner. They don't go down, and that is the Darkstalker bonus damage starts to really come into play here, as Dialer is able to clean up Musics with very, very little resistance. Blazing Azars, 2-1 as the payload pushes close to conversion with 60 seconds left, are poised to be able to take this one for free. Bomb King has King Bomb available, Cursed Arm for Androxus as well. And Dialer looks to shut down Ninu Kuki before Dragon Punch can even be channeled. That's the power of Darkstalker coming through, reducing the shots to kill by at least 1 in that situation. Narrowly avoids the incoming damage from Michaela there, thanks to the field study bubble from Torvald. Protection keeping them alive, and Kamika punishes the pesky Maeve and sends them to their grave. Double kill for Kamika as Nullify comes through and ensures that there is nowhere left for Barak to run, and the rest of the kills for Blazing Azars are picked up in kind. Team Cryptic are down and potentially out after the next capture objective, as Blazing Azars lead 3-1 at 9 minutes and 20 seconds in. With that in mind, champions, level 3 offensive itemization starting to come out between both these teams. Michaela and Sizzy for Team Cryptic have their Cauterize 3 online, reducing healing by 90% for 1.5 seconds after weapon shots connect. Blazing Azars have also Cauterize 2 on only 2 members. The argument for me here is that Blazing Azars have the advantage in the purely anti-heal department by having AoE application from Zexlos's Black Cannon shots. That'll do big work. Grafis as well, with Raka 3 online, will make short work of the shields coming out of Sizzy. Barak has a barricade which is made out of tissue paper at this point of the game. King Bomb, of course, is only at 34%, having been used in the last payload push, but Dialer currently hunts for blood in the backline, immediately finds Michaela, doesn't get the reversal reset, but finds a couple of headshots to make Barak run for their life in this situation. Turns their attention towards Ninu Kuki, gets an easy slay. And all of a sudden, we're wondering why Dyla's been playing Inara for all of this time. They could have been playing Androxus instead. The Cursed Arm still in the tank. 8th streak for the Godslayer currently, sitting on the damage charts at 63,000. Initial poke on the Michaela is good. Double taps have relatively reduced inaccuracy. A lot of early damage coming through, but Dyla never steps skywards. Activates a Cursed Arm, waits for Dragon Punch to come through towards this fight. Music's an Earthen Guard, soaks a lot of damage through time and space, will be channeled, finding nothing in its effect. And Ninu Kuki on the backline of this fight looks to try and make a trade out of versus Grafis, but is hoisted into the air and shut down for their trouble. Unstoppable goes Dyla, finding 1 kill in the backline of this fight. Goldex trades out as Maldamba. But will it be enough? Dread Serpent provides a short amount of zoning. Goldex stays alive. One more Sticky Bomb will do it. But instead, Dome Shield is on the objective. Contesting briefly, Zexlos is able to hold things down for their team. And we've got to see somehow if Team Cryptic want to stay in this game and be able to deal with Ashe in this situation, eliminate them, and survive the incoming King Bomb, which rolls around the outside of this map. Dyla's tracking their progress. And Zexlos is able to take out Music as Dyla finds a massive reversal reset into Ninu Kuki in the air. Easy kills all around for Blazing Hussars. 3-1, surely to be 4-1 victory as Goldex perishes as well. And Team Cryptic had no answer to the pressure which Blazing Hussars brought. 4-1 victory. That is how you mount a comeback. Looking at our scores now between rounds, folks. The end of that game, it was Grafis and Dyla. Dyla. 11 deaths on Androxus, higher than we would have liked to see. The highest on their team, actually matched for the highest in game. But 17 kills and 72,000 damage, making the Andro work. We just saw a clinic on this champion. We haven't seen one like it since last weekend when Prince Danny found Andro on Stone Keep. Dyla's certainly proving that they know exactly what to do with this champion, being a long-time favorite of this player. It's good to see them back on something they're comfortable with. But also throughout the duration of that game, Kamika's presence as Torvald is, quite frankly, some of the best which I have ever seen. Their protections were on point, not used on cooldown, but used whenever necessary to really ensure that their allies were safe. Blazing Hussars had a strategy in their pocket, and they rolled with it. Great use of Nullify at key situations as well from Kamika, just ensuring that kills were secured. Maybe there would have been some way around that for Musics, for example, running Mother's Grace, just ensuring that they can immune the CC, but Kamika was very selective with their nullified targets, and as a result, CC kills picked up left and right. It does do things for game number 2, however, folks. We do have map number 3 available to us in just a second. Team Cryptic did take map number 1, of course. Map number 2, answered back by Blazing Hussars. So in the finals, how could it go any other way than all the way? We transition through. You know where we've been. We're heading to Frozen Guard to close things out for map number 3. Again, we've seen small and compact maps so far. The key feature of all of these maps actually is something which is shared. Jaguar Falls has a compact objective fight. Blazing Hussars, with their victory on Brightmarsh, demonstrated their ability to play around the outside of that, but Brightmarsh still has a compact objective area. And Frozen Guard, it's got a reputation for being one of the quote-unquote longest maps in the game. It does, of course, feature a very long line of sight area. Recent adjustments to the map have helped mitigate some of the spawn camp dismount potential that we've seen on this map previously. But the big part of this, which we've got to go back to again, is point fight enclosed inside the igloo space. I'm expecting to see a lot of similar picks come out here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the exact same picks that we've just had on Brightmarsh come out on this map. There's the verticality to allow, around the edge of the point to allow for a bit of Mave play, as well as the positioning element. Drogos, maybe less so, but staples such as Bomb King, Inara, Torvald, Ashe, and Barak, all of those I expect to be shared. But enough of the speculation, champions. We are ready with our drafts, so without further ado, on your screens right now, it all comes down to this. Frozen Guard, the destination for our final game today here in the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. Blazing Hussars, they have first pick, first ban. Mave is taken off the table initially. Don't want to deal with that. The wide open map of Frozen Guard. Koa as well, being banned down in every single semifinals and above game today. So the Ancient won't be seeing any playtime, but the picks are coming through. And they're looking somewhat familiar. Barak, to Bomb King until I'm getting a serious sense of deja vu right now. But hey, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cryptic, though, didn't run field study the first time around. We'll have to see if that'll be the case this time. And maybe they'll want to augment their bonus damage or go for more nullified kill potential. But Blazing Hussars immediately drafted the triple front. Ash and Ruckus following up. Nando and Maldamba answer back then in tandem. Cryptic do keep something in the tank, which is a damage thing here potentially. They want to hold something back just in case they need to go for a counter pickup towards a sniper, maybe draft the Eevee, maybe draft the Androxus if Drogas is pulled out, but Blazing Hussars go for Grover and Janos, so triple frontline, double support in this situation. We talk about a lot of pressure resting on the shoulders of the single DPS for triple frontline compositions. We've said that Drogos could often fulfill that role because of the sheer amount of area damage that they have. Will Grover be enough? That is a very tricky question. On the other side of things, though, Charlene rounds out the composition for this team of Cryptic. It's been a while since we've seen the Desert Wind enter the battlefield. But once again, champions, 2 minutes on the clock. Let me know your predictions as we get ready for the final game of the finals of this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. Will it be Blazing Hussars taking it all? Will Team Cryptic mount the comeback? Triple frontline versus double DPS. Who will win? 2 minutes on the clock once again. Let's find out.
Around despite the loss, I'm over here, gotta get across. Whether you like it or not, there is a moment meant for us. And now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested, open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadow and me are one.
In the end, folks, a best-of-3 set reduced to just one final game. Blazing Hussars go head-to-head versus Team Cryptic here on Frozen Guard to decide it all in this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, the Cup number 26. Of course, throughout the duration of this tournament, I have been Voxed. I will probably be Voxed once this tournament ends, but we'll have to see. I may have no voice left. Blazing Hussars now playing, of course, out of the left-hand side of your screen. The blue corner are led by the Baku with Celestial Touch, Janos, Kamiko on Aerial Assault, Ruckus, Dyla with Tinker and Barrack, Zexlos on Battering Ram, Ash, and Grafis on Ferocity Grover for their triple frontline composition. Facing off against them, though, on the other side of things, Michaela leads with Desert Shadow, Charlene, Sizzy on Chain Reaction, Bomb King, Musics on Field Study this time for Torvald, Nino Kuki on Scorch Fernando, and Goldex with Spirit's Chosen Maldamba. Expect to see a fireball kick things off here. Nino Kuki looks at the angle, tries to find the collateral, but won't have the opportunity. Blazing Hussars land a lot of damage on the Bomb King with long-range axes here. A look to try and clean up in the backline. Field Study Torvald keeps Michaela alive for a moment, but no, the kills are coming through. Initially for the red team, Grafis does back off as Zexlos is able to kill Michaela, removing a big source of DPS from Team Cryptic. And Blossom will momentarily keep Ruckus alive, but Team Cryptic so far are just snowballing this fight out of control. Busy on the objective, will throw out a couple of bombs towards Janos, relocates with Poppy Bomb, looks for damage towards Grafis in the backline this map, and Grover not very effective at dealing with all the shields put up by Team Cryptic here. Busy does have to be careful and tries to get out of the area towards Maldamba, does so just in enough time. Team Cryptic to be able to hold strong. 63% of the objective was initially capped by Blazing Hussars. They have that in the tank. If Team Cryptic are forced off for a moment, if Blazing Hussars can close the gap and use that triple frontline, just sheer health pools to establish, There is the opportunity for a comeback here, and that's exactly what Kamika is looking to do on Ruckus right now. Grafis burns down 2 for a double kill. Finds the triple onto Nino Kuki. And 99% rolls over. Blazing Hussars did it in enough time. They lost the triple frontline fight early, sure. But by the time that they were forced off the objective, 66% already captured. Easy comeback. Just the sheer pressure of these frontline health pools, as well as the shields, was enough to allow Blazing Hussars to make their comeback and capture the first objective. Now, in this payload push, a few more difficulties are presented to themselves. Blazing Hussars, once again, with triple frontline, do hold a slight advantage here because they're able to incrementally push forwards, little bit by little bit, and make headway just through the fact that they can stage their shields one after another to try and keep themselves in this fight, with Barik and Ashe specifically. Skylar finds 2, which will make this fight a lot easier, and hoisted into the air by Void Grip. P6 is shut down by Grafis. But really opening up the possibility of the payload push to continue. You can see this incremental advance coming through as Kamika now takes over and takes on the pressure of Dyra, and Dyra establishes the forward zone. But the main importance is that Team Cryptic have space to play with, and they'll do that exactly as they need to by starting off with Charlene. King Bomb comes through as well, is channeled and ready, but no, Sizzy is taken out of King Bomb before it even detonates by Kamika's Hexafire in response. Michaela looks for the damage with Field Study buff damage as well. They will be able to pick up 1 kill, impale onto Grafis for 2 in a row. Maldamba throws out Dread Serpent to try and buy some more time for their team. Michaela surely to fall here. They will indeed as Zexlos's battering ram comes through, but Goldex answers back, and with 55 seconds on the payload push, 90% of the way through, Team Cryptic are able to stabilize. And that's really important in this situation. Team Cryptic now are able to send their frontline out to zone slightly, but their damage is able to play back and make space. That's what Blazing Hussars have been trying to force throughout the duration of this game so far. That's what you need to do with triple frontline. You've got to avoid giving the DPS room. You've got to get up in their face and pressure them out with health pools, rather than giving them the space to play. The problem for Team Cryptic is if they play from range, they're making themselves more vulnerable to Grafis' Grover, who relocates to the high ground looking for Sizzy now. Kamika rockets on down as well, and even though they're blown aside with Poppy Bomb, there's nobody defending the payload. Blazing Hussars convert successfully. Kamika, did they get credit for that? Or should we give the credit over to Bomb King there? Because Bizzy relocated Kamika to the perfect position to be able to force that one through. With that in mind, champions, taking a look at our itemization between rounds. Blazing Hussars, they have the advantage. Fast capture and conversion, although Tier 2 offensive itemization off the back of the initial fights has been matched by Team Cryptic. Blazing Hussars are starting to go into their luxury item. We've talked a lot about the importance of Cauterize throughout the duration of today's tournaments, so let's now talk about the specialty items coming through. Master Riding for Zexlos will allow them to relocate to the fight more rapidly, and as these front lines start to perish more quickly, as the fights do go on throughout the duration of the game, that'll become more valuable. Also, Resilience started to be picked up by Blazing Hussars as well, recognizing and respecting that Maldamba's Snake Toss stun, as well as the Grumpy Bomb and King Bomb stuns from Bomb King, cannot be underestimated, although powerfully in place for the looks of things. Ashe, without left without a leg to stand on, was an easy shutdown. Kamika on the outside of this fight looks the opportunity to continue applying some pressure towards Ruckus, putting their attention between Musics and Nino Kuki currently. And whilst Team Cryptic were able to get some capture, without a Fernando protecting them, Musics was very, very vulnerable in that situation as Torvald. As a result, had to step off the objective, giving capture advantage back through to Blazing Hussars. 42% and rising currently. Blazing Hussars holding all the cards in the palm of their hand. Big Dread Serpent comes out from Goldex on Maldamba. Nullify as well prevents Ashe from being able to get their ultimate off. Massive plays coming through from Torvald. Dome Shield from Blazing Hussars goes down around the front line of this fight. But was it placed too far forwards? Nobody's taking damage from the Dome Shield. Everybody's able to bypass it, and it's 78% on the objective. Torvald was able to stall out momentarily until Hexafire came through. And that, at this point, will likely be enough. King Bomb does roll through. Grafis finds a double. Grafis finds a triple. All game Grover here, baby. That's all I can say. What seemed to go wrong there for Team Cryptic is the question which we've got to ask ourselves. Positioning, positioning, positioning were the big elements of that this time around. You can see Grafis here is just escorting the payload as the rest of the team takes another position. Now the back taking over. Kamika starts to engage into the tunnels here with Wrecker on the Ruckus, of course. He's going to be able to make short work of Fernando's shield. Another killing spree there as a result. But what went wrong for Team Cryptic? Positioning. Blazing Azars held it throughout the entire duration of that game. Nobody from Team Cryptic was able to pressure out Grover. They were too busy dealing with the frontline monsters getting up close and in their grill. As a result, they had no real way to disperse when the onslaught came through. Sure, there were a couple of good ultimates which could have turned tide around. Misplayed Dome Shield from Blazing Azars as well opened up the possibility for Team Cryptic to come back into things, but in a desperate move and a desperate measure just to contest, going in was Torvald, and shut down very easily. But speaking of Torvald, here's where it comes into play. Kamika tries to get themselves back on the map, but it's just not happening. Sailing off the map all the way down to Ice Mines, it looks like. Maybe even to the Onslaught map as well. Maybe to Frostbite Caverns they went. And that should be a successful defense here so far, as Zexlos is being stalled out and kept at bay for the time being. Doing a lot of damage to Michaela. Finished off right at the end, and before Michaela does perish, don't want to give any more credits to the pockets of Blazing Azars, but again, beautiful stagger coming through. Now Team Cryptic, as we remarked last time around, have the opportunity to play around space. Now they've got to be careful with Grover. Last time, Michaela took to the upper rafters of their base, the upper balcony, and was taken down in, I think, 2 or 3 axe hits from Grover from range. This time around, Michaela's playing on the low ground, much more defensively with a lot of cover to be able to play around, but does get reduced to just 300 health in the process. Kamika advances forwards, makes a move towards Fernando here, potentially looks for a shutdown as Aerial Assault keeps them in the air. Actually, Immortal from Ninu Kuki does allow them to survive momentarily. They do charge away, but not to safety here as Kamika just continues the onslaught of pressure. 1 kill down a Ruckus as Michaela goes down. Hexafire channeled on Sizzy preemptively. Goldex cleans them up, so nothing really achieved right there in terms of ultimate for ultimate. But Goldex about to go down to Zexalos. Round the corner from above is taken down by the AoE proximity detonating shots of Ash. And now it's up to Charlene in Heat Haste to try and save this push for that team. Prevent this from being a 4-0 sweep. The backing down for double. Michaela falls in response. Kamika is returning to the fight. Zexalos charges towards the backline, but overtime is ticking. And now, protected behind Ninu Kuki's shield, Zexalos is actually trying to go into assert dominance to hold things down for their team, but beautiful stuns from Maldama prevent them from doing so. Dialer can only last for so long in this situation against the onslaught of pressure coming out of the Bomb King specifically. Sizzy doing a lot of work for their team in that last fight. You'll see third on the damage charts, and overall, Team Cryptic, they hold on. That was beautiful play from Goldex. Honestly, if Goldex hadn't activated Dread Serpent, hadn't found a Snake Toss stun onto Zexalos' Ash to prevent Assert Dominance from being activated, not just once, but twice, that would have been a very, very different conversion. Potentially Blazing Azars were looking at a 4-0 victory. But Team Cryptic were able to hold on. And the important factor here thereon is that Team Cryptic have been able to get Tier 3 offensive itemization online, and they're looking to dismantle everything that makes this triple frontline composition strong. Now going into Master Ridings as well. One element of problem, or one element of issue within Team Cryptic's play so far has been their lack of beneficial positioning. But this time around, they're making sure that that simply does not happening. Inakuki finds Dala to kick things off, and that's already a good sign for this team. Planted his channel towards the Baku. Michaela barely surviving, no, getting shut down by Kamika across the map right towards the end. But will Kamika be enough? Inakuki narrowly being Void Crypt actually. Doesn't hit the 3-player collateral fireball, which would have hit the last one for over 1,300. It's not enough. Team Cryptic have the comeback mechanic. The zone has been too good from them the entire duration of the game. Blazing Azars full in this situation. It's all about Team Cryptic here on the payload push. That was just beautiful play from Team Cryptic. We mentioned positioning has been a problem. Master Riding picked up to try and allow them to get into a better position faster than their opponents. Looking at the itemization again between these two teams, Dialer also sitting on a Master Riding 1, which is why we saw them take a very advanced position versus Team Cryptic. Didn't expect them to be quite as rapidly there as they were. Wasn't able to get turrets up and barricades in enough time to stall. Perished and opened up the fight. Team Cryptic have found the can opener. A lot of that seems to be coming from the damage from Michaela's Charlene. Currently got to be careful of Grafis here, but stunned out. Beautiful play. Sizzy able to close out that kill, and now Ninu Kuki takes over as Michaela perishes. Texlos in a lot of trouble, is standing on a gourd. Will be surely to perish here, but no, Kamika makes short work of 2 enemies in a row. Now looks to make that a third as they focus down multiple opponents across the backline. Rockets confirm the damage onto Ninu Kuki. Reprioritization onto Charlene as they return. And Team Cryptic, their can opener was found momentarily. Now it appears to be blunt. No sign of this payload moving until Blazing Hussars are displaced. We have to ask ourselves, with 1 minute left on the payload push, and the payload barely 10% out of base, is it considered worth it at this point in time for Team Cryptic to utilize ultimates to try and push towards conversion? All Team Cryptic are doing at this point, if they try and push towards conversion, is going to be creating a very strong stagger versus their opponents, so they can go for an extended overtime push. The problem therein is that in doing so, you're risking a great deal. You're still down 1. It's not tied up 3-3. It's 3-2 in favor of Blazing Hussars. And if Blazing Hussars can hold on without ultimate utilization, it'll be massive for them in the next capture objective fight. Texlos tries to engage, though. Already having used Whirlwind, this team of Blazing Hussars is losing out on a lot of pressure, but triple kill for Kamika so far, converting that to a quadra kill before they perish right at the end, as Dialer cleans up Ninu Kuki. Full team wipe versus Team Cryptic. No sign of this payload moving any further forwards, even if Torvald is able to close the gap. 5 seconds remain on the push. Team Cryptic are going to have to concede that with the knowledge that at least they baited a Whirlwind out of their opponents. But unfortunately, that is it.
I should buy something with these credits.
Very nearly a penta as well. Ninu Kuki landing the fireball to turn that around. Doesn't give Kamika the kill credit. Itemization once again on your screens. Luxury items is what it's all about now. Blazing Hussars trying to find victory and resilience. Reducing currently across across Zexlos and Grafis, reduce the duration of crowd control by 60% here. Dialer, 90% overall. So this barrack is very hard to shut down. If they can survive the impact from King Bomb or Grumpy Bomb. In fact, they can probably just soak a Grumpy Bomb and continue fighting out as long as cooldowns are available. Means that Team Cryptic are starting to lose some of the mojo out of their kit, which does rely on a lot of crowd control. In fact, 4 members have stun potential or silence potential on this team. Fernando, the only one without. So it's a good look for Blazing Hussars to itemize appropriately. Will it do enough? Straight to the backline comes Ninu Kuki looking for a fireball onto Dialer. They say, okay, you itemize into resilience, we'll just burn you down. Through time and space has been activated. Let's see a brief pause come through. It looks like there's been a panic key press by one of these teams trying to actually have their team pause. From the admin communication that we have received, there has been a player disconnect coming through, and there we go. The pause actually does connect in full effect. So whilst we do have a maximum pause rule within the ESL Go4Paladins Cup of 1 pause per team with a maximum duration of 3 minutes, the ESL admin ruling on that one is that this was actually meant to be 1 pause, but since 2 members of the team were trying to spam it at once, the game kept on pausing and unpausing. So there you go, a little bit of information for you. And as we've said, we have had confirmation from the admins that this was due to a player disconnect on the side of, I think, Blazing Hussars here. But coming through, no, it was Team Cryptic actually. And as a result, Blazing Hussars, well, they're moving themselves into a position to look for victory. Now, by the time that the teams do return to the battlefield, by the time that we go for our unpause in this situation, we should have all players back and loaded into the game. But let's take a look at where this team is getting the advantage. Blazing Hussars, currently 3-3 on the objective, percent. 3-2 in terms of scoreline. Team Cryptic need to come back in with a capture to be able to pull out a victory here. We're 14 minutes and 32 into this game. We are into late game now, and the triple frontline composition of Blazing Hussars is starting to be dismantled. The problem, once again, relies on positioning. Blazing Hussars have better positioning overall. Team Cryptic certainly have had their moments, as we saw during the previous capture round. The important element that I think we're missing out on here is the buffer of safety that Blazing Hussars are provided with, just due to the fact that they have sheer higher health pools than their opponent. Look at Charlene, for example. 2,000 health is the maximum which Michaela has. The Baku, the lowest on their team, 2,400. Bit of a difference there. That's an extra shot potentially soaked with some healing coming through, maybe some damage reduction items on down the line. And that could be crucial, as an extra shot to kill can mean all the difference in a lot of duels. Now, With that in mind, Blazing Hussars can afford to make mistakes. They have the buffer of the higher health pools. They have the buffer of the zoning ultimates as well of Assert Dominance and Dome Shield. Underneath Dome Shield, they can rely on Whirlwind to burst everybody back up to full health as well. But additionally, and importantly, I think, they have Ashe with her legendary as well, Battering Ram. And Battering Ram is important here because not only does Ashe, if we take a look at her health, have 5,450 at base, Ashe also has a legendary which grants them 90% damage reduction. So even if Ashe overextends, unless they're body blocked and shut down effectively, Team Cryptic, well, they have to play perfectly. And as a result, 3-2 on the objective scoreline, Team Cryptic can't afford to put a foot wrong here. But currently, Bomb King and Fernando are actually dead for this team. They have their ultimates ready, but they're relying on respawns. Team Cryptic, waiting on those to come back on through, could be in a lot of trouble. It's 3 versus 5 currently on the objective. And if Team Cryptic aren't careful, they'll allow Frontline to push up into their backline and start taking players down one by one, which will provide a stagger. Goldex, you see on the middle of your screen, is in a very unfortunate situation here. Trapped with Zexlos and Ashe looking behind them. Hexafire is ready if that could be used here potentially to ensure and secure the kill to Maldamba. I don't think it will be, but Blazing Hussars likely have the pressure available just to close out that kill without the necessity of ultimates. And then removing Maldamba from Team Cryptic's lineup, making sure that it's constantly a 4v5 or a 3v5 stagger. Team Cryptic won't have a leg left to stand on here. So Goldex is able to slip with the safety, and this is huge. Getting out of dodge for the time being. Kamika connects with the rockets, but nice protection, of course, from Torvald keeps them alive. Here are the respawns coming back on through. Michaela retreats as well. 39%, 42, and rising on the objective for Blazing Hussars. This is where we need to see a grouping come out from. Ninu Kuki takes some of the initial fall here. Big Dread Serpent comes out from Team Cryptic as well. Goldex looking to try and make things happen. King Bomb channeled as well. Barak activates on the objective, that Dome Shield, to ensure that nobody can make their way through the choke point, but Ashe asserts dominance on the objective there as well, preventing themselves from being blown up by King Bomb. Still, Heat Haze and withdraw from Michaela do play off big. Massive Impaler arrow stun could potentially come through on a Kamika here, who does actually try out a kill. On to Michaela with Zexlos coming through from behind, but no, Team Cryptic, they're keeping themselves in this fight. 99% to Blazing Hussars, and Cryptic have done it. Half capture, comeback mechanic to their advantage at this point. Team Cryptic need to be careful with zoning, and so far Goldex taking free damage isn't going to be helping with that. Ninu Kuki sets up on high ground, fighting off versus Dyla, but isn't able to secure a kill, and isn't able to zone out sufficiently so that there will be any form of protection versus the assault coming from the peripheral of the objective now. In comes Grumbeast with Whirlwind as well, keeping the entire team alive. Backs out the way of Grumpy Bomb, but finds an easy kill onto Michaela. Double kill for the Grover. It's looking like it's game Grover in this situation, as back in come the rest of the blue team. Blazing Hussars find the kills that they need to and find victory with full point zone for a 4-2 win and take the set overall. Looking at your scoreboard then after that game, Champions of the Realm. Your victor here today, Blazing Hussars, not just in game, but in set. They go home with a big piece of the prize money today, but it wouldn't be an ESL Go4Paladins Cup without taking a look at the scoreboard. Triple frontline. It worked. In the hands of Blazing Hussars who understand the composition, it worked very, very well. Why did it work? Specifically, the choice of champions which were chosen here, I think, were very important. Now, whilst triple frontline does typically lack in damage, Ruckus and Barak certainly help make up for that. Barak with Tinkering, of course, hits for 650. Fall-off does begin at a moderate range, but still, that's quite a distance in which you're able to slug champions out as hard as Cassie. And Kamika's use of their missile launcher specifically to close out kills and deal a finishing burst was magnificent throughout the duration of this game. Nobody expects death from above, and that's where it certainly came from. Now, it's not just the draft which allowed Blazing Hussars to pull out a victory here with ease. Also, again, the tactics and positioning. It all comes back to this, it's how you play, it's positioning, 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 positioning. The ultimates weren't the most important element in this game by far. The champion draft was very relevant, but it was how it was executed which really won the game. Blazing Hussars recognize that they have all these big health pools, even on Grover. So what do? They really force the fight to occur where they want it to. They control the pace of the game by ensuring there is always Ashe or Ruckus brawling out in the backline of the opposition. This leads attention to be directed to that, away from the Grover, away from the Genos, who only had 4 deaths throughout the duration of that game, comparatively to the highest on Michaela of 16. That's relatively remarkable. So they buy space for their team, allow this middle distance no man's land to be established between the Grover, the Genos, and the frontline grouping as well. Rotating and cycling shields effectively allows the frontline to stay alive, and whenever necessary, in comes Grafis with a Vine and Whirlwind to ensure that everybody survives. 43,000 healing picked up by Grover. Not top of the charts, which does go through to Goldex on Maldamba, of course, 151k is a very respectable scoreline there still. However, it doesn't stack up to the overall upwards of 180,000 on the side of this blue team, Blazing Hussars. And with that in mind, champions, you can see on your screen for today, the winner of the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup is none other than Blazing Hussars. If you've enjoyed the broadcast today, and you're interested in getting involved with competitive paladins yourself, well then, look no further. I have plenty of resources to you, which I'm happy and about to talk to you about. No, you don't get to escape this. You get to sit and listen and let me talk to you about them. Where you can get involved with competitive paladins no matter where you are in the world. First and foremost, it wouldn't really be the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup if we didn't talk about the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. If you're interested in getting involved with this, it's open to players in the European and CIS regions. In fact, there is a regional team lock, which means that you have to have a majority of players. So 3 out of 5 players if your team only has 5 members, 4 out of 6 players, and so on and so forth from the European region to be eligible to compete in this cup. It's also not open to PPL players, so if you're worried about bracket gatekeepers coming in, you're trying to dip your toes into the realm of competitive paladins for the first time, well, then rest assured that that won't be something that's happening. Those players are competing specifically in the PPL now. And believe me, they are certainly just as scary there as they ever were in your pub games. Now, we also have a series of open bracket cups going on throughout the week for PC players, which you may already be aware of. It's called the Paladins Global Series, and it's a massive tournament circuit with monthly cash prizing available to all teams which are able to get into those monthly finals and look to compete. It's a series of open bracket qualifying tournaments, and it's all organized through the Facebook Paladins Global Series group. Now, if you aren't a part of that already, make sure you go and join that group so you can keep up to date with when each of the individual cups runs per region, some of the announcements that we have, and also the live streams, which you may have seen going on facebook.com/paladinsgame/live throughout the duration of the week. Definitely go ahead and check those out. They're great fun. It's always good to see a rotation of commentators coming through as well. And we've had a lot of guest commentators join us on those casts recently. It's been thrilling to see people like Gormizer and Rabies and Latigras come through, contestants from the caster as well, who have really been able to demonstrate a lot of knowledge and prowess and bring something new to the realm of Paladins commentary, as well as having your mainstay heroes of Iris Pretty Hair and Rain Day as well, especially on the weekend. Now, speaking of the weekend, the Paladins Premier League goes into week 3 of the competition this week. If you've not been keeping up with all of that action, then why not? First and foremost, if you're not making your predictions in games, then you're losing out on VIP points, which you can potentially win for free as long as you pick the right team. Go ahead and click on the VIP store inside the launcher, inside the game in Paladins. Click on the Picks tab. You'll be presented with a load of options. Make sure you scroll to the right to see all 8 games, which will be happening every single week. Give us your picks and let us know on social media who you think is going to win. We have an interesting little announcement coming up with some talent predictions following onwards this next week, so make sure you keep your eyes open and peeled for those. Otherwise, it will be interesting to see how things go down. A lot of good action coming on this weekend. I'll be watching in chat. You'll see me there. And otherwise, folks, we're very, very happy to announce a brand new esports project for the realm of Paladins from Hi-Res Studios. Had a lot of questions from console players since DreamHack Valencia and the Console Wars tournament about when is the next console competition coming? When is the next console competition coming? We have teams who are desperate to get involved, want to practice, but need some reason to. Without further ado, allow me to introduce you. The Console Paladins Tournament Series has recently been announced. Details available on paladinsworld.com, presented by Mixer. Let's check out the breakdown video to see how it all begins.
Hey ladies and gentlemen, my name's Randy, and today I've got some great new announcements for Paladins Esports. If you think you're the best Xbox One or PlayStation 4 player in the world, well, now you'll have a chance to prove it. We're thrilled to announce the brand new $250,000 Paladins console series, powered by Mixer. This is open to all North American and European console players, so all you need are some buddies and some controllers, and you can take your shot at console fame. Teams will compete in the series of 12 monthly tournaments scheduled through October 2018. Each monthly tournament will consist of 3 weeks of open bracket play, offering crystal prizing and qualifying the top 8 teams in each region. Those top 8 teams will then face off in the monthly finals with cash on the line. We'll be giving away $19,000 and more than 84,000 crystals to Paladins Console Series competitors every single month. Wow. And the best Paladins Console Series teams will earn invites to compete at LANs, including the inaugural Paladins Console World Championship at Hi-Res Expo 2018. Looking for your share of the prize money? It's easy to play. Just form your team and visit esports.paladins.com for more information on how to register for the Paladins Console Series today. And you want to catch the action live? The Paladins Console Series will be presented exclusively on the Paladins Game Mixer channel every weekend, starting Saturday, October 21st at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. European PlayStation 4 and Xbox One matches will be broadcast at 11 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday, while North American matches will air at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Sundays. So that's it. All you need are some buddies and some controllers and the will to compete. Cash and crystals are waiting to be claimed by you, so don't hesitate and sign up today for the Paladins Console Series. As always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and we'll see you all in the realm.
And there you have it then, champions, the Paladins Console Series. Make sure you go ahead and visit esports.paladins.com if you're interested in checking that out, or paladinsworld.com, which will redirect you to the same site. If you're interested in also checking out some stats from last week's PPL, then I recommend you go ahead and check out the infographics available for week number 2 now on paladinsworld.com. Got some very interesting details in there. For those of you who have been asking about the patch preview, rest assured it is coming up in just 28 minutes. So if you want to hear about all the changes going down in OB61, if you've been following along with Thomas Holt on social media and you've been checking out all the spoilers like me and you can't wait to see how it all goes down, then stay tuned. That'll be coming up shortly. From everybody here at ESL Go4Paladins, from our localized rebroadcasters to myself, Fox, and our wonderful admins who help things run smoothly behind the scenes every single week, week in, week out. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to broadcast this cup for you, and you can catch us again at the same time next week.
Thank you.